Thank you, Nathan. Joining the pledge of allegiance, Robert.
Sir Robert.
Sir Robert.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, I'd like to acknowledge the public that's joined us tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your personal time to come down and be part of this. I'd like to do the library first, and then we'll get into the police department, and we'll talk about why we're doing it that particular way when I get to a recap. Our projected revenue, after we went through all the different departments, is $3,497,405. The expenses, after we went through those, is $3,559,713. So we're still at a loss of $62,308.
They don't have your update, so their report should show closer to 460,000.
That will be
We
471.
haven't gone through all those yet.
471,558. So I have it set up that I mentioned to you on Tuesday night that I've gone through and done lights and water adjustments. And that's what's resulted, plus the discussions that we had on the expenses, has resulted in a net loss still of $62,380. And as you adjust the different amounts, we'll be able to go back and take a look at it and see where we're at. Okay? So the library folks are here. Again, thank you for being here. I asked them to be here, not to make a presentation, but anticipating that you folks will have questions about their budget, and in particular, so that they can answer any questions you may have. And I want to talk a little bit about their recommendations for what they see they can do to help us get a new roof on the library. Anybody that's, since you've been on council for 6 years, we've been talking about what to do with the roof of the library, recognizing it's going to be expensive. They have a thought in mind to help with that.
They were doing it way before that.
Pardon?
First time I was on the council. Right after it's built.
When the Black Hills were pimples, huh?
So, Misty, you had, you were taking us through the different object costs, and as we get to one that I've changed, and I'll address that. Want to get started?
Sure. You had me do roll call Tuesday night, or you?
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Okay, Dave Burris, J.R. Huddleston.
Here.
Larry Pratt.
Here.
Bill Luken.
Here.
Melanie Wilson.
Here.
Linda Barbell.
Here.
Craig Romy.
Present.
Deb Johnston. Here. Thank you. Okay, libraries, we'll start at salaries and wages. We have projected $135,000. That includes 4 full-time, 1 part-time library clerk, 550 hours, and 1 part-time custodian, 320 hours. Oh, I'm sorry, Craig, we're on page 24.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Payroll taxes, $10,300. Retirement, $7,500. Workers' comp, $500. Group insurance, $44,500. That includes Wellmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is our health, Dearborn National Life, and Delta Dental benefits the city pays. Unemployment, $625. Insurance, $12,200. When we get to talk about the library roof, I talked to an insurance adjuster today before coming over here, so I'll have an update on that for you. Professional services, $11,500. That includes GNR controls. I believe they maintain the HVAC system, the heating and air conditioning system. Carpet cleaning, Black Hills Technology, that is our IT provider. They're grand IT needs at the library all the time. Night security, they have security services, and then weed and feed services. 2020, we removed the contracted cleaner. So if you look back historically, it was more because we paid our cleaners out of there, and that was, I think at the end, like a $900 a month bill. Publishing, $1,500. They publish board minutes, job openings, seasonal events. I have that one highlighted just because the amount's so much more than we've ever spent in the past, and I didn't know what additional publishing or advertising required that significant increase, because we also budget for publishing and didn't see that kind of increase. Do you want to have a discussion about it now or go through it?
You want to go through line by line?
That's what we usually do.
Can I ask Mary a question? Because I believe, Mary, you explained to me what the reason was, or Jane, I forget what the deal was on that.
In the past, our minutes have been about 3 or 4 lines in the newspaper, but we've extended that, only basically so the public knows more of what we're doing. That's more costly. And when we did our job search, we found out that some of those ads are costly. So we don't anticipate spending all of that, but as you know, it's easier to have it in the budget if in case it's needed.
We are having a difficulty balancing this year, so is there a lower amount that anyone would like to propose or that you would accept? That's usually what we do at this point in the conversation.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it. I've heard nothing. Repairs and maintenance, we have building repairs, $10,800. We have notes that include sheetrock repairs and roof repairs. Is it a good time to talk about that?
It says minor roof repairs. I think we have a major issue, right?
We do.
But they're different.
And it's one of the 2 items that I've adjusted with the library. But I want to talk about once we get to books, I adjusted that one, so I'll bring the 2 of those back together. The adjustment in the books and the adjustment in the building repairs to address the roof issue.
On those minor roof repairs, what exactly, did you have somebody come in and work on it, or what was the, what did you do?
Well, hopefully by next year we'll have a brand new roof, but just in case there's damaged gutters, lights, leaking, that's what that would entail.
Are the sheetrock repairs related to building damage that occurred because of the roof? So
Yes.
that should be included in our insurance claim.
Right.
What I heard today is because we had a claim initially before the big storm came in, they have to settle that claim and do that first. And they're ready to wrap that one up. They're gonna send us some stuff in the next couple of days. That was $1,800 minus the $500 deductible. At that time, they didn't think it was appropriate, necessary, needed to replace the entire roof. Significant damage was done in the second storm. They haven't made a decision yet, but it's getting closer to that. So we'll be getting something in the next few days about closing out the first one, but it was $1,800 or something. And we should fix anything that's leaking or causing damage right away regardless of waiting for the insurance company. But the next storm, the bigger one, is that the one where the sheetrock damage occurred?
The sheetrock occurred before that.
Oh, okay. Did you show that to them then?
Yes. I
And
showed
so
them
that
what it was.
18 would include the roof and sheetrock damage done? That sounds low, so we'll talk. And hopefully the adjuster comes back and they'll give us more, maybe we can replace the roof still within this year or early next year with the insurance money, but we don't know if they're gonna total it out yet or not.
18,000 or 1,800?
1,800, 1,800.
With the $500 deductible.
It'd be $1,300 check we'd get to do any repairs that.
Well, that's just.
It's not a lot.
Well, that was the
No,
first
not at all.
storm, and so it depreciates too. Just because you have a storm, the whole quality of your roof is not related to the damage that occurred during that storm. So they had inspection reports of the roof prior.
No, but the sheetrock, did they look at it
Yeah, I don't
first
know.
storm?
I didn't know till I just.
I walked him around and showed him where the sheetrock was cracking inside and showed him that the first time.
So we'll talk and we'll make sure that they explain that to us
Missy, is it a $500 deductible each occurrence then?
per claim.
Okay, per claim.
Yeah.
That's lower than I thought it would be, so that's good. Thank you.
And Misty, can I be, thank you to the conversation, give some pointers on patching the roof and things like that.
Yeah, at this point, we're just gonna be talking about what was in the claim, Larry, but when we get to talking about repairs, and you have had someone come look at it, right?
you made.
And I said that to the insurance guy, and he didn't seem to know that. Did you share that with him?
I don't know that I even saw the insurance adjuster the second time.
Okay.
Cause I went up with one of the adjusters and somebody from Bill Wright.
Bill Wright.
Bill Wright was
Came up there with me on it, so we all three of us looked at that at the same time. But you said a third person came in?
I've had 2 more since Built Right have looked at my roof. They're still getting me the estimates though.
Okay.
So Bob, if you have adjustments to these numbers, please give them to me so I can update this spreadsheet and then give council the differences between what they're looking at.
I have proposed adjustments. They may not like them, they may go with them. They're already there.
Is this one of them though, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so
I have some questions on numbers up above all this, or do we want to finish going all the
we
way down?
should stop and talk about any number you want when we're
Well, you
discussing.
just kept sliding through.
But you never
Well,
mentioned about salaries and wages, so.
We need to stop her.
Well, number one, the salaries and wages, there's quite a bit of difference. Is that because of the dollar raise we gave? Where does that come from?
I've sent you the way I calculate the estimates for salaries and wages. We use a spreadsheet. We choose whatever each employee makes, plus adds their next year's step increase, plus any COLA, and then calculate all the associated costs from that.
Okay.
It's the same in every department.
Okay, so
And they've seen it, so,
do we have more employees or?
no ma'am, but we do pay them more.
Okay.
And Mary started at top of scale, if I remember right.
Okay. And then the group insurance elevated quite a bit just because everything is elevating.
Not everyone always takes the insurance, and we calculate that number off of actuals. So if we have 2 employees that are eligible for insurance but don't take it, then you're not gonna see the expense. At this time, that's the expense with the employees that we have taking advantage of the city policies that we offer.
Okay. And then you said we had for cleaning professional services a $900 a month bill before, so who's cleaning now?
Carl.
Carl was cleaning for,
Thank you,
Carl's
Carl's
the
the
next
magic
up.
man.
Carl's
Okay.
the man.
All right.
we get Carl for 6 hours a week, which really is not enough for
Nine.
the people that we serve, and he does a wonderful job. But if we could clone him, that would be great.
Wouldn't it be? And I think it's 9, right, Carl?
It's up to 9 now. Thank you, Jane.
Well, still not enough,
That's
but you
good.
do a great job.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, I'm caught up.
We'll be leaving publishing where it is.
I heard no
I
objection.
didn't hear
and
any
I'm
objection to that.
Well, we just didn't,
good. Do you have-
That's why I'm asking questions.
yeah, I think we should drop it at least 500.
15's quite a bit when year-to-date's 589.
Legal publishings are the cheapest, but ads for open positions are expensive, and I hope we don't have to do that often next year, but you never know.
We're going to retain everyone this year.
So I heard to drop it to at least 1,000.
I think we ought to drop it to 1,000.
Anyone else have any opinion? Any objection? We'll drop it to 1,000.
Well, you want to talk about building repairs in the same time we talk about books, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna skip over that for a second.
Yep.
Okay.
Plan on building repairs and with the books on it.
Okay, stop me at any time. I'm not gonna keep taking a breath. We'll keep going. Equipment repairs, 1,200, that's their copier maintenance agreement. It's 900 annually or $75 a month, and then $300 extra for any other equipment repairs they might need. Supplies, 10,000. Both books and supplies are annually supplementally appropriated with grant dollars, so when you look at previous year's expenses, often that's the case.
Did we take out streets and sidewalk repairs?
I don't have anything in there.
Your original was 5,000. Okay, never mind, move on, that's okay.
Do you have anything?
Oh, that's fine.
Which one? Well, I always
I
pulled the wrong
got
one.
so
I
many
know there's so
versions.
many versions,
Sorry.
that's why I keep the
I know.
master. Janitorial supplies, 1,500. Travel and conference, 6,200. Library
Can
certification.
we go back to that?
Which one? I'm reading the notes
Travel
for it.
conference.
Yep, I'm reading the notes for it, and then you wanna talk about it?
Okay.
So they have notes, library certification, Aberdeen, 2 staff, miscellaneous training, librarian to 2023 ALA. Is that the one the Friends of the Library used to send the librarian to?
It has happened in the past with a private donor, but I don't know if that private donor is still available.
Okay, so that's probably one of the bigger increases to the
Right.
amount, and I think that's probably used.
And obviously, if the private donor comes through the Friends group, then it would be an expense. And the Aberdeen, the 2 staff, is that they have maybe you all know this, there's a 4-year process where we can get our staff certified. It's a 2-week course in Aberdeen, and then there's online courses. Heather went this year, we were able to have one goal. The goal is to get as many certified as we can. It helps us on our certification with the state.
Great.
Well, we sent somebody last year, and we only had 4,200, and now it's up $2,000.
I can tell you the 2,000 is directly related to the ALA conference. That's where that came from.
We've only spent, because they've been short-staffed, we have not spent, we spent $276 of the 4,200 year-to-date. But they haven't had the ability to send anyone to anything, but it may be high, I have it highlighted. We need to find ways to cut. It's possible potentially to still get some needed training and reduce that expense.
We're all talking about balancing the budget this year.
Jeff, you had said you had added the additional 2,000.
Yeah, it's a flat, that's exactly what the increase was. We had budgeted or proposed an additional 2,000 for ALA, and that may be above and beyond. So that's where that 2,000 came from.
What is ALA?
American Library Association.
So it's not the state, it's the
That's- it's a
national.
national
It's
conference.
They take airplane rides and stay in hotels
It
and.
makes it sound so fun.
Dawn used to make it sound super fun. She really enjoyed doing it.
I'm with the American Library Association, but what exactly is it? I mean, what is their primary function?
It's a professional development conference, I'm sorry.
And it's the award of library.
It is not a requirement, that's your question.
So the certification in Aberdeen for 2 staff members for 2 weeks, what is an estimate of cost for that? It was $75 a night for hotel rooms for probably 6 nights.
Heather actually stayed at the dorms
And
and
they
then had
don't
to,
charge it?
she just had to get, food.
And so that's minimal, $100 a day. That's real high. We don't pay that much, 7, 12, and 22, I think.
She was able to catch a ride with one of the Custer.
Oh gosh, and that's awesome too, so. So is that a really high estimate? Could we still get that done with
You could
less in that budget?
Probably, based on that, you could probably go back to 42 and still do ALA,
I think
even if you only got one staff certified, then you could still do ALA, I would think.
I think 42 is
42 is
still high,
probably-
looking back
There
at the
was so
history
too.
of expenses.
Bill think so?
There was 4,200 budgeted in '22, and there was only $276 spent so far
But
this year.
part of that's staffing. They haven't been able, they've been
Okay,
getting new staff in place.
Okay.
And
they haven't had the staff to send anywhere.
Right.
So we're going back to 42?
I
Okay.
feel like that should be lower. I think it's the
42?
highest. The 42 was high last year. In our high years, we spent 2,200. That's the highest ever. I get things are more expensive, maybe 3,500 is what I would suggest, but I'll let those of you here decide.
What training does your staff need to maintain the certification for the library?
They have to go through that program through Aberdeen. That's through the state program.
Okay.
That's a one-time deal for each employee?
No, it's 4
4
summers.
Four
It's 4
summers.
years.
2 weeks at a time in Aberdeen. And
And
there's
it-
housing.
Plus the state convention. We've always sent people to that if we can.
Which is pretty minimal too, right?
Yeah.
It's in the
It is,
state.
but, yeah, it's only like 1 or 2 days.
If they have housing and stuff.
Expenses are minimal, mileage.
You want to drop it to 35 or leave it at 42? Y'all don't talk
We're
at the
different
same
now.
time.
Where's I go from 35.
Can you live with 35?
We'll try.
I mean, it's a question.
Yeah, that is possible.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't, where's the state convention next year?
I agree.
I'm not sure.
I think
So the state
35.
convention this side of the state in Rapid City, obviously a lot cheaper than in
Oh, yeah.
Rapid Sioux Falls. And I don't know where it is next year.
We're back in 2013. Okay, what did we get?
Are we doing 35, 46?
I think we'll go to 35.
Okay. Ending at 35. Thank you for the discussion. Utilities, there's a variable with the telephone expenses at the library because they apply for and have to be awarded the E-rate. So they get it every year since Dawn started applying for it. But if it went away, their telephone expenses would go up and we'd have to supplementally appropriate. Because it does add 100% of one of your internet and then a percentage of each phone line and fax line. So it is a good credit. But I have that estimated at $3,500. I just want to share that variability with you that's outside of their control and ours. Electricity, $9,000. Propane, $7,000. I have that highlighted. I think it's high. I know that propane varies based on weather and price. I think it should be more like 45 or 5. We're not over budget yet this year. Somebody said we were, oh, yeah.
Are they on our
Misty, we were told we were over budget on
What's that?
on the propane.
You're-
Over budget on?
Yeah, you're $100 over budget right now.
And that's why it.
So, but that's a huge jump to like,
Are they on our
yeah, pre-buy.
pre-buy?
Mhm.
Is that over with, or do we still have
It
pre-buy?
goes August, it goes September to May, we start looking in August
Okay.
for rates.
We were
But
just
they are
thinking-
billed for the propane they use, even if they're included in our pre-buy.
We were just
Still,
thinking that we're
it's
halfway
cheaper
through,
diesel.
we're halfway through the year and we're already $100 over.
Yeah, did you guys have a leak?
Not that I know of. I had no idea there was a problem until you said I was over budget.
Because historically, your propane use hasn't been that high, so we may, your tanks are underground, right? You may want to have someone take a look at that. It's,
When you had mentioned to Mary that it had gone up, we went around the building looking at everything, and I suggested to Mary that maybe the two regulators should be changed out or updated, because sometimes a regulator will go and you'll have leakage. That's a possibility, but we couldn't find anything inside the building, and we checked the boilers, we checked the water systems and the fireplace. So inside, there isn't anything that we could find that would cause a leak. I know that when Peggy was here, she used the fireplace as ambience on windy days and cloudy days and whatnot. So I know that it was used quite a bit.
is that a propane fireplace?
Yes.
So even at 45 or 5, it's 1,500 higher than what was budgeted. We'll all have to face the same thing if propane prices are through the roof, and we'll be talking about it every department that uses propane, so. that's
They're
what my
higher
comments.
than they were last year, I know that already.
Yeah. So those are my comments, I think more like 45 or 5. Does anybody want me to leave it, have any changes?
Misty,
45?
can I ask, have you gotten the figures for your pre-buy yet?
No, we start asking in August,
Gary was just saying his went up 30%.
yeah, so 160?
No, 270 now.
Oh, see, and we can get in on the state bid prices, and we bid more than just one, so if you didn't look just there, they're typically the highest.
Nelson's is.
When
I'm
we-
just saying,
when we
from
bid
last year to
propane.
this year.
I go through Sternwell, and mine's at $1.77 a
We use
gallon.
Enning, we use Dakota, we get bids from as many places as we
Sure,
can.
sure, but that's why we did it, we just felt we needed a cushion because we were already over
Sure.
budget this year. And we like the ambient.
And please, yeah, Mary, who knows about propane? Who can we talk to make sure our underground tanks don't have a leak somewhere? I can look at your usage and give you an idea. You can say, I'm $2,000 over, and besides running our fireplace a few extra days, what can we get somebody to check to make
Most
sure that we're not?
fireplaces don't take that much. I run my fireplace every night in the winter, and I don't even use a tank full. at
That would be the
house.
comment that I would make. I run my gas or my propane fireplace quite a bit in the winter, and
is really not a significant
No,
increase.
it's hardly any.
Wouldn't it be the person, couldn't the person who services the propane, have they come and look?
They're done. Our pre-buy agreement with them
Oh,
is done.
okay.
All we do is buy propane from them. We own the tanks.
Okay, okay. All right.
Do I have to get different people to, do I need like a bid system on it, or can I just go to Nelson's and have them?
Just call Nelson.
It doesn't hurt to ask somebody
There's more
before
than
you
one
incur expense how much
propane
they'll charge you, but I would just say,
place in
hey, I
this
have this problem, could you come out and look at it? What would it cost?
Oh,
If they say over $500, then
There's
look at our
three
procurement
different
policy and then you gotta
propane
get 3 quotes. But-
Businesses in town, we don't have to always call Nelson. There's 3 propane places in town.
And it's always a good idea to ask when you're talking to somebody about anything, what's this gonna cost me before you make a decision. But I think it might be worthwhile since your propane use has gone up so much.
I say we go to 4,500 and have them see if there's a leak.
I agree.
Investigate
Yeah,
Okay, change it to 45, thank you.
That's still pushing.
It is still more than this year, and you'll have to appropriate if we can't cover it for what we go over this year. And going down to computer software, 6,000, I have it highlighted. I think we have some updates for some of those numbers. We found out that we were budgeting yearly for some things that were 3 years or 5 years. So correct me if I'm wrong, but as I go through here, I think I got these right. But Jeff, you got a couple extra updates. So Overdrive is $1,600 a year. Overdrive is your, what program?
That's the online.
Okay, so allows for online book checkouts.
Yeah.
Follett is their, kind of their inventory, $1,200 a year, so it's their actual books that they keep track of and check out. Physical books and different things. Cybrarian, that's like a security, safety, right?
Yeah.
750, and that is a year.
Yes.
Okay. Pharonics and Start Logic, I have those 3 years paid in 2022 at $300 and $500. So those aren't due again for a couple of years. And then Sonic Wall / Child Protection Encryption, $650. So 4,500 is my 2023 total, unless I got something that needs updated.
What'd you have for Overdrive?
1,600.
Okay, it's 1,100. According to Mary, according to your last email to me, the price is 1,100.
Okay, so actually,
And Follett is 1,328. On what you're
Okay.
doing.
so I'll just say 1,350.
Okay.
Cybrarian.
That's correct, 750.
And Pharonics
I
and
don't
Start
have,
Logic.
I don't have Pharonics and Sonic Wall. We didn't have that information.
And the Sonic Wall Child Protection Encryption, that's $650 a month or a year.
Ryan was supposed to get me the figures and he never did.
Okay,
I
but we're
think
paying
it's-
it currently, right? It's something we pay currently. I can probably
I
look
think
it up.
it's 650 a year.
Okay.
That's valid, should.
So there may be some room for some savings there.
What do you get for,
I'll re-add those totals. And I'll just leave that at a year, but we'll have to go back. Sorry, I was trying to sign in for the software. So Overdrive, we said was 11 now. All at 1350. I'm gonna have one of the two, Pharonics or Start Logic in there for cushion, and then we're saying 650 is a year, that's 4,150. So
So
4,500 is still
go to 45, that's,
a couple hundred more in case.
I think we ought to go to 45.
Anyone have comments? Anything to say?
Sounds good.
And then books, 30,000, I have that highlighted.
So Bob wants to talk about books and building.
Okay. Okay.
So for the folks that weren't here Tuesday night, what I told council I would do this year for our budget is ask the department heads, put in the request for whatever they feel they needed. just as though we weren't as strapped for money as we are. And then I would go through it and kind of take a look at it from a point of, what does it take to keep the lights and water on? What do we absolutely need to have? So I made an adjustment in a particular case for the library to books and building repairs. And in talking with Jane as far as what they have in mind this year, again, the roof needs repaired. And John helped them with, talked with Mary about preparing this year's budget. And what they're proposing for this year's budget is to save some money out of building repairs and street and sidewalks.
And you're saying this year, do you mean 2023 or 2022?
2022.
Okay, thank
They
you.
still have money in the building repairs and the street and sidewalks. And they feel they can set aside, they can save $30,000 out of those two
That's our goal.
to go towards the cost of replacing the roof.
And that was, I'm sorry, building repairs and,
Sidewalk.
thank you.
Now, we all know that whatever you save, you're not guaranteed of getting back. You don't, book it for next year. But like council did in the parks, when they wanted to put in the irrigation system down at the Brookside, they weren't able to do it in the remainder of the year. So council agreed, okay, they're gonna come back to you in the spring of the following year and ask for the money that they would have spent in the fall that they couldn't because of the season. And council said, okay, we know what you're doing. When you come back and ask for it, we'll supplementally appropriate your budget, or add to your budget so that you can get that repair done. So that's what they're asking, is to set aside the $30,000 from the building and the street and sidewalk and earmark that money for the roof repair. And combine that with whatever we get from this latest hailstorm. John took a look at it and he's recommending high-impact shingles to just replace the tiles on the roof and replace them with high-impact shingles.
That'd be
And-
cheaper than steel.
And he's estimating that could be done for about $90,000. So it really hinges on what we're gonna get in our settlement with the insurance company. Ideally, with them still saving the $30,000 from this year, maybe there'll be enough settlement from the insurance that the roof can get replaced this year. But what they're asking is to allow them to set aside, earmark, $30,000 from this year's budget, recognize that they need to watch the rest of their object codes and make sure that they don't go over budget and everywhere else. So, again, back to the lights and the lights and water. I took $20,000 away from their books and I put it in building repairs. So, building repairs started out at $10,800. I bumped that up to $30,800.
Is that for the roof?
That's for the roof.
Okay. The other savings is and some of you have been up there, is the cliff behind it is eroding, and that's where that 1,400 figure had come from last year. Our hope is that we can have some of the city departments who are already overworked and overbooked help us in the back, and that will save any kind of private contractor being back there, but that erosion also needs to be addressed.
Is that sinkhole repair that you talked about? Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as the two figures, the building repairs, the $10,800 and then the $30,000 for the books, that isn't going to reduce their budget. I'm just shifting $20,000 from books to put it into building repairs for the roof.
Well, we both had our roofs repaired. After deductible, my roof was completely covered. So I'm thinking, if that roof's as bad as like my roof was, that second insurance check ought to cover the replacement of the roof.
My roof was just repaired also, and it was only 6 years old. And I too got the impact resistant
Yeah, so,
shingles, but the insurance adjusted for a 15% reduction. What do you call that? Depreciation, thank you. So they
It
gave
all
15%
depends on what our
depreciation.
insurer decides with our roof, our coverage, and our damage.
so if it covers it all, that 20,000, where's that can go back to?
The books. We need
That's your
books.
call, Nick.
Well, that's something we need to decide tonight.
And Jeff, I believe you had some reason behind increasing those books.
It needed to be increased. I mean, for that size, the number of stacks and that size library inventory, they should be in the $25,000 to $30,000 range of replenishment of books each year.
We're one of the top-rated libraries in the state and at the national level last year. In our book circulation, we can compare it to others within the state. We have a higher than average book circulation with what we have. The last year, 2021, was the biggest year for expenses, and that was supplemented by grants. And we spent $25,500 in books last year.
And those numbers are simply coming off of, industry rule of thumb for the size of the library, what your replenishment
These are
rate
come
should
from
be.
State Library Association comparisons.
Okay,
They're
Misty,
the
you
ones-
win.
Well, they are, I'm
You
just
win.
telling you, you guys all see those.
Yeah.
We just got one of those this year.
I have no problems putting the $20,000 up here, the equipment,
Building.
building repair. But I'm with Misty, I don't think it ought to go back to books.
I wouldn't say none of it would, but I'm just saying that the statements that we're not doing enough at our library are not,
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying, standard replenishment rate would be down
Are-
25,000.
Do they usually get $25,000 a year for books? Is that?
they can
Our
get,
nonfiction books have not been basically updated for 10 to 15 years.
oh geez.
Yeah, and books are not getting any cheaper, but our patronage is growing, which is great. So, last year we had 25,000, we thought in our budget, and then it was reduced.
No, that's how much you spent. Those were actual
Exactly right,
expenses.
exactly right. So to cut us back to 10 is really gonna be difficult. So, if I understand right, we'll save 30,000, then we kick in another 20,000 from the books, so we're basically putting 50,000 to the roof? Is that what we're thinking?
Yes.
Okay, so if we don't need the whole 50,000, can we do some horse trading here and say it goes back into the books?
Problem is, the last 3 years, we didn't balance budget in Hot Springs.
I understand that, but I don't want the whole balancing to be on
Well, I
the
would,
library.
I would add that you can say yes today, but if you don't have the available cash balance to do that in your unassigned cash balance, you can't say yes. So you can commit yourself to do that. We are facing a lot of unexpected.
And I understand all that, but
So-
maybe so that people are kind of aware that we're being really good faith this year, saying we're really trying to save the 30,000. And if we end up that we don't need the 20,000 on top of that, that we can say that we can increase our books, what we need to do.
Well, we're gonna balance budget issue, we all said we're gonna do that.
Well, we'll have the money allocated to the library, and over the course of the rest of the evening, we hopefully can balance the budget through other things as well, so that
We can come back to
20,000
the
will
building
still
repairs.
be allocated to the library.
And in building repairs at this time.
Can we go on and then come back, see what we got?
Absolutely.
Sure can.
Yeah.
So that's how I have it now, books down to 10 and then 30,800 in building repairs.
Misty, part of this is the unknown about the insurance. Do you have
Right.
any idea when that figure's gonna be aware?
I just heard from the adjuster tonight, and I
Okay.
gave you that update, and I'm sorry I don't. I can tell you that they're very overworked with all the storms this
Understood.
year. And
Yeah. It
so
just-
they got an extra person to come down and look at the buildings, and this was the first claims adjuster that did the first claim, and he's gonna be working on the second one, he just didn't have a decision.
And that's fine, but that, I mean, once we know that information,
Yeah.
that would obviously
Sure.
feed into this discussion.
I talked to John, he talked about all this to get the 3 bids and things like that, and everything, and he said, and he was kind of tentatively saying, now I'm just in set in stone, but he was kind of tentatively saying that maybe September, it might get settled around that time, so, you never know.
No, and
Right.
we're just at the mercy, and I understand that, but the
But
timing
definitely, you
just isn't
definitely
great.
need a roof up there, I walked that puppy and it's,
Yeah.
Well, unless there's more
It's bad.
questions, we've covered most of it, I think we can move on unless, if you wanna.
I think the point that Jane is making is the 30,000 from this year and 20,000 potentially from next year. That goes a long way, so if you don't need all of that, then it would be up to the council to decide, do you want to give them something back for books?
And how much more?
And how much, and you've said 15 years for your nonfiction books before, since they've been.
That's what Peggy found.
You said that because that's my favorite genre, right?
Yeah.
Did you pick that because that's
No,
my favorite?
no, that was just what Peggy told me when she was leaving us, that the nonfiction really needed to be updated.
So keeping you up to date, so any other changes, council? Keeping you up to date, the changes that you made took us from $62,000 deficit down to $55,000 deficit.
I'm still at four
Well, can you say that again?
Went from 62 to 55,000.
I'm still, from what you have, we're still at 471,608.
What library total do you have on your spreadsheet, Misty?
$301,625.
Okay, thank you.
So I think what Misty is, what Misty's talking about is, when I say the 55, that's all of the savings that I was projecting, so you may accept them, you may not, the figure may go up, but the figure I'm giving you is tracking the changes you make.
Give me that number again.
$301,625.
All right. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
a
you very much.
Public meeting, you're welcome to stay for whatever share of it you want. The next thing I'd like to get into is the police.
Can we eat first?
Yeah.
Don't do that on a full stomach.
Well, it's not gonna be easier, girls, when you do it, but we have one officer that's on duty, so we don't know how long we'll have him. And this is, all right, so a couple things have happened since we talked last. I had shared with you that the county is probably gonna ask us to increase dispatch. We all agree that we need to budget at the 55 level. We don't know whether we can convince them to not do that, whether they do it, to what degree they may budget. To bring council up to date, I'll ask Captain Shively to give you more details as far as it. Deborah had made a comment, I believe, Tuesday night that led me to believe that she's aware that the new police vehicle that we got last week, Adam has done a Department of Transportation inspection on it, and his recommendation is that we not put that vehicle on the street. It had some significant damage that was not shared with us. The police department did their due diligence to have a Department of Transportation inspection done on the end before they even considered receiving the vehicle, and based on that, the decision was made to go ahead and receive the vehicle. But right now, it's not recommended to be put into the fleet.
I agree.
So when we had the discussion Monday morning, it was Adam, the captain, myself, and Billy joined us for a little bit. The captain made a list of all of the things that Adam was concerned with. I asked sure that we have a good legal stance before he goes back and talks to the company that sold us the vehicle and see what kind of accommodations they will make to take the vehicle back. And I believe you had an opportunity to have that conversation today.
I talked with the gentleman that was the sales rep. His boss is gone for a few days. When he gets back, the conversation will continue. One of the things I did find out is that it was a third-party inspection. They don't do their own inspections. They took it to the DMV who inspected it. I did also find out that according to Florida law, they had to take pictures before it was fixed and then after it was fixed. So I'm not sure if we can get our hands on those pictures before it was fixed, but in a few days, we'll be able to continue the conversation. Per Garland Goff, I told him, I told the guy in Florida, Milo, I said, we've talked to the city attorney, we want to forego legal actions. We want to see what you guys can do for us. So he understands that situation. And again, a few days, his boss will be back and we'll continue the conversation.
Can I ask a question? What did it cost to get shipped here?
2,000.
$2,000?
Yep.
So if it goes back, are they gonna reimburse us shipping
We'd ask for it, right?
and are they gonna pay for the shipping back? We'll ask them for that.
Oh, we'll ask, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And if they
We-
don't, we're out $4,000?
Let's,
Yeah, we
I'm
don't know
just
yet.
asking.
right, but let's
Hopefully we're not up.
have that discussion once they've said what they're gonna do or what they're not going to do. But yes. And, but again, because Deborah had said it, and I know this is a small community, and I imagine she's not the only one that knew it, but I wanted to share it with all of you at the same time. And then give the captain an opportunity to tell you personally what his conversations have been. We're working the problem, and we hope that it's resolved to our satisfaction, not theirs. All right. The police department. I asked the captain-in-chief to be available to answer any questions you may have. I expect that you're going to have them. What I've said to several people is that I did sit down with the police department as Jeff and Misty may have sat down with other department heads to try to understand their budgets. And I asked my questions to try to understand what they're asking for. And I came back and had a number of conversations about the budget, and it quickly became apparent that there were questions that I didn't ask. They just went on my radar to ask. So I didn't want to come off as the subject matter expert in the police department after talking with them for an hour about the budget. It's a lot more detailed than that. So yes, I did ask them to be here to answer any questions you may have and give you the details. The three areas that I see potential for saving money is the two areas that I see is the administrative position at the top of it, and then the vehicle repairs. And we'll talk about the vehicle repairs as Mr. gets to them. So let's just start down through it, as Misty has, and if you have any questions, we'll ask them at the time.
All right, so I used the same spreadsheet for all the departments and the personnel, except for recreation, I don't have one, but different in the police department for salaries and wages estimates, we add 5% to the calculated projections. That should be increased anyway because we add in step increases and COLAs. And that's for overtime and holiday pay since they work around the clock. There was a proposal to add $1 for the admin to eliminate the janitorial cleaning. I have that noted, what it would add, obviously, 2080. She keeps a full-time 40-hour-week schedule, so, and then the associated increases to the payroll taxes, which is the next line.
Oh, we need to go back. I have a
And
question.
Good, go ahead.
We did that once before with secretary down there at $1 an hour for cleaning. And after a year or two, she decided she didn't want to do it no more, but she got to keep the $1 an hour that she got for cleaning. Is that going to be the same situation here?
I don't know, but I would have a concern that we have a cleaner there that's done a really good job and renewed her contract every year for the past 8 or, more than I've been here years. So I didn't know if anybody had a talk with her about how this would affect her and her cleaning, because she also cleans at City Hall for us. So if we were to upset that relationship by doing that, it may affect us there as well.
The problem is that, I don't know if you want my opinion, but the problem is that to have somebody coming in from the outside to a secure department where the evidence and stuff is stored is a huge concern, not only for the state's attorney, but for the officers involved. On top of that, she maybe cleans, I mean, the one week, or the 1 month, she only cleaned once the whole month.
Is
And
that
I don't
check
know.
COVID?
I don't know. I don't know the reasoning. I haven't talked to her. I don't know. But she's only, it's about an hour every Sunday, and for the security purposes, we can't, like chain of evidence and such, it's all comes into question, is all, because she's got keys to a supposedly secure facility. That's where we're going with that.
We've done it for years, and I don't think anybody's had a problem, have they?
I can't comment, I don't know. Still a question.
I have no problems with it. I just know we've tried this before and it didn't last. Not saying it won't this time.
If we do it and if the admin says, I don't like toilet bowls, I don't want to do this anymore, then the dollar goes, we got to pay attention and the dollar goes away.
We had a
Yeah,
hard
the
time
first
finding a
time.
cleaner
The
in
whole
City Hall.
contract, it may affect the whole contract. I mean, the person, there's only very few cleaners in town, and that, she's bid on that, I'm sure, based on X number of hours.
The thing the chief mentioned, though, that we're kind of blowing past, that if the state's attorney has a concern because of chain of evidence, we need to pay attention to that. And,
Did we ask him?
well,
You talked to Lance?
I mentioned it, yes, I have not talked in depth to him, but he said, yes, it's a concern. I haven't got specifics just yet.
Is that, I've not been there, I should probably go get a tour. Is there a way that the evidence can be secured away from where she cleans?
Isn't your evidence locked up?
In the evidence room, otherwise they're in temporary lockers. However, blood tubes and such as that, they have to be mailed, they have to be packaged for mailing. So they're secured in a package, but not per se in the evidence, because they have to be refrigerated, such like that, in order before we transport. They either get mailed or to the South Dakota State Lab, or they get transported to Rapid City. That and any drugs that have to be mailed.
Well, couldn't we put a little refrigerator in the evidence room?
And she doesn't clean our fridge or open our fridge.
There is one in there, but it's a tiny room and it's hard to get to. So, I mean, it's packed. So, I mean, you're more than welcome to come take a look.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
So,
should anyway,
and,
just,
I don't think the concern
It's,
is the custodian.
no.
The concern is the person that has evidence and the attorney that represents the evidence
Right.
that sees an opportunity
right,
to get their client out because they can challenge chain of custody.
Correct.
right. That's why
I'm sorry, but you face challenges with that. Regardless, I don't think it's gonna be solved by a cleaner's position.
No, but the
But-
evidence room should be secured
It
against
should be,
anyone
regardless.
that shouldn't be around it, i.e. the cleaning.
Does she have a key to that room?
She does not have a key to the evidence room, no, sir.
So she can't get in.
She has a key to the building.
Okay,
I'm
so
just saying what I've noticed in the past.
I don't have those amounts added in at this time. So I'm gonna keep going, but we'll get
Okay.
back to that because it also affects the professional services budget. Workers' comp, 12,500. Group insurance, $88,750. Unemployment, $1,350. The South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance insurance, $13,800. Professional services, that's down $2,850,
Why did that go down so much?
eliminating the janitorial cleaning
Okay.
Yeah, that's only as the other thing.
by adding $1 an hour to the admin assistant.
Right.
And that subtracted by $3,225. The Marco copiers, 800 is an estimate, Serval, 480. Oh. We'll take a break.
Yep, Evans Heights.
All right, professional services is highlighted, because it is lowered because we're eliminating the janitorial cleaning position, so we'll need to add that back in if we do not do that. I don't know if you want to stop and discuss these things or have me keep going, but it's already 6:20 and we're on line 12 in the second department, so
I understand that, but these are serious
they are.
conversations we need to have. and-
So let's talk when we get to them.
So where'd you cut the lights and water on this?
Misty's getting to it.
Oh, okay.
So, I did not add in the amounts for PD admin getting $1, but they're essentially, I mean, when you add them up, they're close to the same dollar amount. So if that decision needs to be made at a later date, I prefer to add in the $32.25 in this line. And then if it is eliminated, that's where the money would come from to do the admin. They're essentially the same, but we can't take it out of both of them and balance. So if we're ready to make that decision, let's make it. If we're not, I want to add $32.25 back in this line, and we can make the decision later.
So where does the police department stand with the housekeeper being there versus not? And is the administrative person
For
willing
security
to
of
take
the-
that on?
For security of the building, I prefer there not be any outside people with keys. That would be the best thing for the police department, whether it be for evidence or for just secure property. But it doesn't, that's my opinion. Captain?
Yeah, my opinion as well. I've never been comfortable with somebody outside coming in with key, it doesn't matter who it is. There's too much going on in there. But that's just our opinion.
The dollar amount would be the same, so we can have that
Right.
discussion later if we like. Did anybody have any other questions? I don't mean to push you along, but. Vehicle repairs, that's another one I have highlighted, $16,500. There was a new strategy from our city mechanic, I believe, to just pick an amount per vehicle and times it by the number of fleet. That led to the increase. I would point out that in years where there's very high amounts, that's a result of an insurance claim or hail damage or somebody driving into someone's vehicle and we had to repair those. So in those instances, you supplementally appropriate with the insurance money that you receive. So it's not necessarily budgeted dollars like we're using just to balance the budget in our estimates here.
Well, if we have to keep that piece of the, say, car, and we need this repaired.
Oh, this is the first place that I talked with, shared with the captain and the chief that I see a potential decrease here. Again, as Misty said, our new mechanic is recommending budgeting $1,500 per new vehicle and $2,500 per old vehicle. The idea behind that is they're going to need tires, they're going to need brakes, they're going to need repairs as they age. Often the question is asked, well, why so much now? Why hasn't this been done in the past? I can't speak to why it hasn't been done in the past, but this is what our new mechanic is recommending to maintain the fleet. If we reduce that amount, recognizing that if the repair costs go up, you're gonna have to supplementally appropriate it to address it at the time. But I see this as a place that we can reduce it. I didn't recommend an amount, but I wanted to have that discussion with you.
It's also appropriate for contingency to be used in the event that an unexpected repair is needed because something goes out. So you also have a contingency line built in this budget for those types of things. So can somebody recommend an amount for me?
9,500 is 22 budget.
4,500. We supplementally appropriated that with insurance money already. 4,500 is what we budgeted in 2022.
We talked about reliability of the front end loaders and all those things. Reliability of these is a little more important. They need to know that when they get in the car, it's going to start for them. They need to know that it's going to stop. They need to know it's going to accelerate when they need to come on the vehicles.
That's why we try to buy nice vehicles.
Did you have the number in mind, Bob?
I would say reduce it to 10.
I can agree with that.
Any other comments?
I had a question because there's a separate piece of paper here that I think deals with the police department, and it has supplies and training. Does this fall under supplies and,
It goes under the.
It will when we get to
Conference.
it. This one is just for vehicle repairs that we're talking about right
okay,
now.
I was just wondering where this was
That-
gonna go in.
It will go in supplies and travel and conference.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I see.
So did y'all agree that 10,000 was an appropriate amount then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did I hear a no?
Yeah, you did.
Did you want to have more discussion on that or move on?
What do you think, Craig?
Well, we don't have that many old cars left. I understand, if you look back, we bought new tires for a whole lot of these cars last 2 years. So we need new tires, hopefully we won't need new tires, you know. I don't know, I just think that's quite a bit more, but it's just me.
Do you have another number you'd like to suggest for consideration?
I think 8, so.
You have spent already $9,064 for the year?
Because we had hail damage and accidents, and so it's been supplementally appropriated by insurance money.
So this 9,000 is actually insurance money?
4,500 was our budget at the beginning of the year. So we have more insurance money we'll be appropriating when we continue to fix the repairs that we incurred, the damage that we incurred from the storms.
So approximately how much have we spent so far this year?
That 95 would, on the
The
report there.
9,000?
9,500,
95.
let's see, 9,064 year to date.
But more than half was insurance money.
Was damage that occurred during a storm.
Yeah.
It wasn't a car breaking down. 8,000 or 10,000?
Go say 10.
Okay, I'm leaving that at 10.
Okay.
And I'm moving down to building repairs, $750. We had a note to repair and replace the water heater. My question is, if it's broken now, why would we wait? We have a broken water heater, we should fix it.
Why don't we fix it now?
And then-
It's like the hydraulics and.
Although I would still recommend we leave something in building repair for next year in case something unexpected and small occurs.
750 for our water heater.
Well, they've already spent 443 of
But
the
that's what we have
500.
contingency for, if something breaks, we need to fix it.
Do you have hot water?
No,
No.
we haven't,
That's
we haven't.
You gotta have hot water.
Why haven't we
You
fixed
haven't-
that?
Haven't it?
I
Yeah.
didn't know it was broken until just recently. We did not know, no.
Why'd you just think you never had hot water down there?
I just wash my hands quick. I don't wait for it to get warm.
No one's taking
So I mean,
showers.
We don't have
huh?
time for that.
So we need to fix that.
So is that something that takes the 3 bids then? I would assume?
Yeah.
You always want to know before you agree to any kind of service what the cost might be, and then you determine after you get that first amount, what level it is, then our procurement policy will tell you based on that.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
They're just quotes, not bids.
Yeah,
in our-
estimates, sorry, my bad.
Well, I was one of
Less
those
than
for
element,
you guys,
just
they
have
did
to-
ours, but they're dealing with a water main break. So $750 for building repairs. Leave that.
Yeah.
Yep, it seems, I mean.
I'd say leave it and get the water heater repaired now.
Yeah, we should not be waiting for things like that. Our infrastructure and our facilities are important.
Fixture replaced.
Equipment repairs, we have $2,600.
What's that?
It has taser cartridges, which if they're new, that's a supply, but I'm not sure how we budget for that in the past. And then calibration of radars, $500,
What's your total on that, Misty?
$2,600.
It should be 66.
Well, I don't, this is what I got.
I don't know, that should be 66. Because there's 2,500 in just,
It's 1.5 for taser cartridges,
What are we
calibration
looking
radars,
at?
500, PBT, 600.
in equipment repairs,
That,
correct?
yeah,
Yeah, line 14.
yeah, and that doesn't even add up, does it?
No, it
2,600?
should be 66, at least 66, because the tasers are $2,000 each.
Okay, but that's not a repair, that's equipment, and so that was moved to equip, because you're purchasing them, so it's not an equipment repair. This object code is repairs of equipment, so that's where, we'll get there,
Even
and
though
you'll
we're
see a difference.
Even though we're trading in old ones that are broken to replace those.
Yep, it's still not repair of
All right.
existing equipment, it's new
Okay.
equipment.
That's just where they were before, so that's where I put it.
Okay, yep, they weren't in the right place, so we moved
Okay.
them.
So those tasers are moving to the equipment, to equipment.
Machinery and equipment?
Okay.
And taser cartridges, I would think that if those are, that's supplies. It's not equipment repair unless you're sending in the old ones to get re-energized, I don't know how it works. Then it would be equipment repair. But one way or another, it's in the budget. Here, 2,600, I don't hear any other conversations. Supplies, we'll have to probably wait for Bob for this conversation. It's highlighted because it's significantly higher, $16,140. $2,500 for office supplies, $10,740 for ammo, which ammo is also included in the training estimates. $2,500 for citations, warnings, $400 for a rug purchase, and then it mentions extra body cameras, 8 at $960 each, and extra radio batteries, 8 at $47.50 each, but those are not included in this dollar amount, because if you add up everything else first,
Well, $900 each.
extra body cameras, but they're not included in this dollar amount, they're in the note.
Don't we already have body cameras?
They don't last a full shift.
So if we were to add the body cameras, 8 at $960 each, and the radio batteries, 8 at $47.50 each, that adds another $8,060 to the supplies from the existing $16,140. So the $16,140 does not include those last two things, but it does include the other items that I mentioned.
That brings that to 24,000.
Is that what it is? I'm not adding it in until you're done talking about it, because we're adding, yeah, it'd be 24,180, but it was presented to me with 16,140 in it, but those notes.
So where are we at?
Supplies. So, the notes, $2,500 for office supplies, $10,740 for ammo, which also some included in the training estimates. 2,500 citation warnings, a rug purchase, that adds up to 16,140. Then there's notes about 8 extra, it says extra body cameras, 8 at $960 each, and extra radio batteries, 8 at $47.50 each, but those are not calculated into that supplies projected, 16,140.
calculating those in, what is that, put it at?
24,180.
So now we're into the heart of the attachment that I gave you, and the other bit of information I said I would share with you tonight as we talk about the police department. I mentioned to you that the county commissioner is probably going to request an increase in the dispatch dollar amount, and they also want to have a conversation about countywide law enforcement. So my recommendation is we do the same thing with this budget as we did with the support services. Treat this as though we want to have a police department, and that's the serious discussion that we need to have tonight. Do you want to fund the police department to a certain amount and ask them to provide services within the amount that you're comfortable with? Or do you want to fund them to the level that they should be funded to make sure that they go home at night? That's just one way of saying it.
Is it necessary to replace all the body cameras?
We're not replacing body cameras, we're adding, because it's a liability without a body camera to go to a call, and right now they're not lasting a shift.
Okay.
It's got, they're not
So everyone will have.
replaceable, we'll just have a spare is what they are. So that we have a body camera available at all times.
Is the body camera itself not lasting, or the battery?
It's, the batteries are built in.
Okay.
So we have to replace the whole body camera if we replace them. And it's just cheaper to just buy a set.
Then do they just recharge?
Yes.
At the end of each?
Correct, yeah. It's just we can't recharge them if we're actually working. So once they're dead, they're dead. We have nothing.
So
Yeah,
it's
they're not-
good to have a backup, yeah.
Because it's a safety
Depends
issue.
on whether we're full staff or
It's
short
a
staff.
requirement.
Each camera is assigned to an officer,
Right.
so there's no doubling up on the
Two
body
each.
cams among officers.
We have, but it's not,
Feasible for,
Right.
right,
Right.
for the reports and for the state's attorney and all that. Because it has our name on it. So when you send it in, it's gonna be under that officer's
So they
name, not
can't
what
share.
they're using.
Each of the body cameras are personalized for the officer.
Correct,
Okay.
and the vehicle, correct.
I know Mr. said this, but remember, the body cameras are not included in that $16,000 figure, just remind everybody.
Yeah, I bumped that up to 24. It's
Okay.
a fair question to ask, why are there significant changes over what has gone before? And we've had the conversation that there have been, in my opinion, there were decisions that were made over a number of years that led to where we're at right now and getting the department and their resources where they need to be.
Well, to me, this is not only officer safety, which that's paramount, that's number one. So those cameras are needed. But it's also, as far as evidence in any arrests, issues that they have, that it's recorded. You wouldn't want that camera to go down on them while they're out there, and somebody's wailing on one of our officers, and we can't prove it.
Will you work two at a time?
I'm sorry?
Will you work two at a time?
Where?
Like, so
No.
if one goes down, no, you just watch the,
There's a battery meter on the top, and it'll also start flashing when the battery's getting low, at which point we would have the spare in our vehicle.
And swap them.
Is it done all the time or just when you get a call?
It's always recording, and it drops off 30 seconds, so if I hit the button right now, it would pick up 30 seconds ago. So it's always running, and it actually gets really hot.
so I changed that number for those of you following along to 24,180. To include those, I don't know why it wasn't included in the original number. Can we talk about the 10,740 for ammo?
The what?
Out of that, 10,740 is for ammo. That's probably another one of the more significant increases in the supplies budget.
I'm sure that goes up like everything else.
How
Hard to
much
get or
is the pay
something?
on that extra?
The duty ammo you guys don't use unless you have to shoot somebody or shoot at something, do you?
But we have,
I mean, it ain't something you'd practice.
No, so duty ammo,
What, yeah, like, what's the difference?
Oh, there's a lot of difference.
I,
want to explain something so you understand duty ammo. This is a bullet and it's sitting in your magazine. And you rack the slide back. The slide comes up and hits the bullet. The bullet slides forward and hits the ramp. That's 2. Then the back of the bullet hits the ramp. That's 3. The bullet then slides up. That's 4. It hits the top of the chamber. Bullet then slides level. That's where we at?
5?
5.
Are we at 5?
And then it seats in the chamber, that's 6. So every time you rack a bullet into the chamber, it gets hit 6 times. The way the primer is made, there's a compound poured inside a little metal cup, and that compound, primer compound, when the frying pin hits it, that's what ignites the powder. Every time that bullet gets hit, it starts to decay the adhesion of the primer compound to that cup that it's in. And there have been documented officer-involved shootings where the officer comes up and click nothing, he has to tap rack before he can engage. And they did an investigation why this happens is a lot of guys with families, which we don't have. But every time you unload your gun, if you unload your gun at night, put it in the safe, do whatever with it, and then you load it back up again, if you do that 7 times, you do that 1 week, what's 5 times 7? 35, you hit that primer 35 times. And if you do that for a year, then that starts, it compromises those primers. So a lot of people who are high operators, they rotate their ammo through the magazine so they're not always doing the same one, and then they do that with all their magazines. So at the end of the year, each bullet has had its share of getting hit. So at the end of that year, they use that duty ammo for practice and then put fresh duty ammo in. So that's, and
Do we purchase our ammo on a competitive purchasing contract? Do we get win on the state bids for that kind of stuff so we can procure it at the best price possible?
we get it in the last few years when it's available, and who it's available from, because it's been pretty tight.
tough, yeah.
There was a while where we couldn't get any ammo.
I was just gonna ask if you
It's gotten better
had
though,
supply
right?
problems,
We did have a lot of supply
but not
problems.
currently.
Not right now, we
Thank
got
you.
all of the back stock that we had ordered, so right now, we're not too bad. But the best option is to order in advance, so you have it when you need to, because we have to certify all the options as they come in.
So the detail that hasn't shared with you right now, he shared with me when we met with him.
Yeah,
There's no way I
right?
could
No,
have articulated
no.
what he just shared with you,
Personally.
simply hearing it the first time. But that's why they're here, is to answer these very serious questions for you folks. And I understand that this is going to be a long conversation, but this is a conversation that needs to happen.
So why is the price of the ammo so much more, or what did we pay for ammo last year?
The prices have all gone up.
And
Is there any room for adjusting the supplies number from 24,180?
I got a question, that just, bear with me, please. Rug purchase.
That's just to get rid of, that's gonna compensate the Serval contract that we have now.
Okay,
Those
That's
are
what I
back in the
kinda
rugged
thought, but I
system.
wasn't
Serval
sure.
contract would go away, we would purchase rugs, keep them clean, in-house. It saves us a little bit of money, but somebody's there every day anyway at the PD to take care of those, so we don't necessarily need the professional service. Because right now, a lot of times if there's nobody even at the PD, like the other day, they showed up and it was a Saturday or something, and there was nobody there for them to even change the rugs out. So it just doesn't work sometimes.
okay.
$400 is a lot of money for a rug, is it a Persian rug?
There's multiple rugs, not just one.
Oh, what you said rug.
No. There's
I got
multiple.
one of these hardware for $80 one day.
Okay, so no room to adjust 24,180, we're leaving that number
I think
in there.
that's our
We're moving
bare
on-
necessity right there.
We're moving on to clothing. 7,400 is what's in here. I haven't highlighted because the calculation for 2 new vests, $1,100 each, $600 clothing per officer, 8 officers, that equals $4,200 a year. 100 per reserve officer, we should like to have 5 of those. And then there's 500 for incidentals and clothing.
See, I wanna go with clothing for every department.
Let's do it.
I mean, when, I know law enforcement needs clothes and stuff, but a $300 parka, I mean, I've worked all my life and nobody ever bought me boots. We buy boots for everybody. You bought boots for an employee that quit 2 months later. You paid $200 for a pair of boots and quit 2 months later. We need to start, I mean, that's a lot of money for a taxpayer to, in my opinion. I'm a taxpayer. I don't like paying that kind of money for clothing.
So we
When
can
we-
talk about those other closing when we're in those departments?
And adjust this one if we see it necessary to adjust this down or at all. I would think that it could go to 6,900 with the incidentals gone, since there's a significant amount of clothing per officer, and then per reserve, which we could use as an incidental if we didn't have reserves, but other than that, the 2 new vests, they're needed, that's for specific
Those are
officers.
needed, and the reason that that's higher is because that's what they've been.
They are
This
higher.
number was just never adjusted for the last couple of
And
years.
so these are needed vests for new officers or replacements, they're not gonna sit in a
No, correct,
closet somewhere.
correct.
So
And if
I
we don't need them, we won't get them.
I could see a $500 adjustment maybe, but other than that, I don't see a lot of room.
When did we start buying clothes for reserves? When I was a reserve, I'd buy my own stuff. I'd buy everything.
Council approved an action when we tried to build our reserve force, and I think Mayor Nelson, you drafted it to, and they all agreed to
Yeah. It's
grow the reserve.
It's
by
$100
including
per
your-
officer, a year,
Yeah.
$100.
So any appetite to change this down to 69, leave it 74? Bob, did you have any changes to the number?
I did, because it was highlighted, that's for council consideration.
Well, if we pass a budget this high, we're gonna have to cut almost every budget from here on out. I'm
So-
serious.
Clothing.
Let's take it to 69.
Thank you.
Anyone else against that?
Does anybody have any objection to that? No. Janitorial supplies, 800. 20,000 for gas, oil, and diesel, which we know what would happen to gas prices.
Yeah.
Here's the other big highlighted one, this is gonna take probably the rest of the time tonight. Travel and conference, $27,077, that's a per officer amount, $3,380 per officer. The calculation was on the spreadsheet that Bob provided to you, to provide more training opportunities, including out of state, also bring in training, IACP membership of $150.
I got a problem giving money to them to go to the gym. I mean, you got a plunge, it's got a gym in it.
I have to agree with that one.
But we have to still pay for that out of our own pockets.
There's a 20% discount for
I was gonna say, that should be
employees.
comped. I think we should comp that
You
to the
know,
police department.
It's considered a fringe benefit by the IRS. If it's, the discount's over 20%, then we have to payroll tax it. So I'll have to tax you for the benefit, but I can't pay you for it. And then if we do comp it or provide it, there should be some kind of guidelines or requirements for who uses it, because if one doesn't want to use it, and you're giving them a benefit you're taxing them for,
If it's a requirement, is it considered a benefit?
if we own the facility, if we put a gym in the police department and we require it, then it's not a benefit, but we can't give it to them at the plunge, because that's a different facility. Or pay for it somewhere else.
I'm all for a bigger building with a gym in the police department. Throwing it out there.
I would, no worry about.
That's what I heard.
That's
That's what I
great.
heard.
Let's talk about that in 2 years.
Do y'all have a basement there?
No,
Oh, okay, I
no,
know,
it's small.
I was, my mom used to work there when it was a liquor store, and I never
Yeah,
knew if there was a
no,
basement.
there's not.
It's,
Health is very beneficial to law enforcement.
Yeah,
I
well, it
guess
is
it's
for all of
very
our
beneficial for
well,
everybody.
health is beneficial for every employee with the city. Maybe we ought to give them all one. I
No.
mean,
Maybe we
it'd be
should.
healthy to work outside in winter time. Come on.
I'm out. May I? Or do you think we need to talk some more? I have some videos.
Let's talk some more and see what the council has. I would disagree with Craig in that we are asking these people to potentially run somebody down and then deal with them, after they apprehended or whatever. How long, Captain, were you off duty because you broke your hand?
2 months.
2 months?
Okay, I'm going,
We're not asking a front-end loader to do that, or an operator of a front-end loader.
I'm going back to when I was a reserve. I ran people down. I didn't go to the gym every day, and the city didn't pay for me to go to the gym. And I had to deal with them when I caught them, if I caught them.
Now, maybe they shouldn't have asked you to do that.
Well, when I became a reserve, I knew I was gonna have to do things
Well,
like
I
that.
used to have to run from ICU over to the Dom during a code blue, and when I got there, I almost died myself because I was out of shape. So they need to be in. And if you're out sick, it's like starting from scratch again. You lose 1 week of doing exercise, and you don't, and you're back to square one. So they have to keep it up. But I still don't understand, or if we could figure out the cost difference between giving them the utilization of the plunge equipment versus some. Well, when we've got our own gym that we own, why should we be paying someone else?
So they can get taxed on any gym they go to.
Yeah, it's like training. It's all training.
They just can't call
They
it.
can't call it training, it's travel.
What-
It's
So
Time out.
the other issue we have though with the plunge is they're not open 24/7.
you could have a key.
So the people, well, my understanding is they don't give us key access after hours. I don't know, that's my understanding.
That could be changed.
That
You feel the equipment at the Evans Plunge would meet your needs?
I'm sorry, say that
Would
again.
equipment at Evans Plunge meet your needs?
I haven't been in there for so long, I have no idea. Have you been in there?
I have.
You don't know.
It should.
They have a huge
Yeah.
variety in there.
You got any comment, Ken?
What specialized equipment
Any
would
comment?
they need? That would not be done.
I think that.
Okay, so part of what I'm doing with the training, this is foundational to officer recruitment and retention. The wages was a huge shot in the arm. That was the first step. Benefits, we don't have family benefits. That's why we only attract young singles. So then the third step, we're skipping over the second step. Third step is training. If we offer training, especially to those singles that need it, because they're not certified officers, they're just starting out in the career, then this training package is something that we can advertise. The Matt Winning, the Strength app, we've been testing that. He's trained military, firefighters, first responders. He has a first responder specific training app. And some of the stuff that he has in there, the equipment that he uses for the different muscle groups, they have at Health for Life. Last time I was in the gym at the Evans Plunge, they didn't have the same equipment. Also, when I was in the Evans Plunge, there's a moisture mold thing going on that messes with my head. With all that said, if you guys gave the officers access to the Evans Plunge, I think that would be a huge step moving forward. But what I'm presenting here in the training is something it covers officer wellness. It covers the helping them lay down the neurological transmitters in their brain to be able to fire when the moment comes and they need to get into action. That's a huge part of this training. And then the strength training that also comes with the package is gonna be very appealing to people. So it's kind of a big package for getting officers and retaining officers. So that's the whole gamut in a nutshell.
Will you require and ensure that it's used by all your officers, so it'll have to be added into their job? And then do they get paid for that time since it's required?
I would love to pay them for that time, but I didn't even
require them to do it without paying.
Hey, if you guys want to do that, bless you, thank you. I didn't even try to ask for that, but if you would do that, we would have more applicants.
Most police departments do pay for their officers for an hour of workout time on the clock during their shifts. Just throwing it out there. I know Casper does.
Which
There's
would-
quite a few others that do,
Only be 4 hours a week.
right? Just some information for you.
With the training, there's quarterly qualification shoots with the handgun, biannual qualification shoots with the rifle, which will increase their training, their skill, their competency level, which then also helps their humility. Confidence breeds humility.
Did we do that already?
No,
We certify
we
with
don't
those
have enough
guns?
ammo, that's why we're asking for more ammo.
We qualify once
Once
a
a
year as a department, and if we can get in on it, we do the summer shoot as well that the state puts on. They provide the ammo for that. So
There's some standards, right? Like you're supposed to have to do it.
the
so many
state
times.
standard is pretty low in my opinion. You have to qualify once a year.
From a liability standpoint, it should be way more than once a year. If you shoot your gun once a year, if you actually have an officer involved shooting, they're gonna ask you, when did you last shoot your gun? 12 months ago. You know, that's not great for I mean, it's good for a defense attorney, I guess.
Yeah, we have the insurer come around and they visit with you guys and they talk about, so, and they.
I
make
have never seen them,
recommendations.
so I don't know since
It's
I've
once
been
every
here.
3 years.
What's that?
And they've
They come once
recommended,
every 3 years. Every 3 years.
one of their recommendations the last time they were here was low light shooting, which I don't know that we ever did.
We didn't have the ammo then, because that's when we couldn't get ammo at that point.
So we're still on travel and conference?
Yes.
I think it can come down to, do you trust what they're advocating for, and if they're going in the right direction? Or do you want to pick it all apart?
Have we asked the local gyms if they'd be willing to
Did you even,
cut us a deal?
because
Yeah,
Bodies
Health
in
for Life.
Motion gives you a deal.
What's that?
Bodies in Motion gives deals to departments and stuff.
Health for Life will also give us a deal.
Yeah, it's $30 a month or something for
So
both
did
of
you
them.
try Bodies in Motion, or you just set on that one out there?
Just because they have more equipment.
Have you been in Bodies in Motion?
It's been a while, but I've been in there. I can go check it out again.
Got a lot of equipment in there.
Okay.
I don't mean to sound,
Why does it matter where
but
we
isn't
go?
the increase in pay that you get to be that, doesn't that help you keep your own health that you're responsible for up and give you the ability to go to gyms if that's what you want to do? Isn't that part, we talk about the dangers and the, all the requirements, isn't that part of the reason we pay more to these positions? Because of those expectations?
No.
No, it's not part of the job?
No,
The increase in pay opened up the applicant pool to where they would actually apply for the
just show
jobs.
up and get into the
Still
car
not
and
getting
do
out,
the
so,
job.
right?
Nope.
We're still
So,
not showing the
so
position.
is giving them access to the plunge like a no deal, or
It's,
is that?
yeah, we could do it, it's considered a fringe benefit, so we'd have to take the value of it and tax each employee who gets that benefit, that value, so I'd have to deduct that from their paychecks. We don't have to give them the money, we pay it, but it's considered a fringe benefit, and I don't know how to set that up in our payroll, but if that's what you decide to do, we'll figure that out, but if somebody doesn't use it, they're paying for the benefit of something that we're requiring them to
Well, if
have.
someone doesn't use Health for Life, we're paying for that too, so.
Right.
But yeah, we don't,
So
Right now, we
I'd
don't
like
pay for
to know a
either.
cost analysis of the difference.
So the question that's been asked is, well, have we got any more applicants? And the answer was no. That's not technically correct. Have we had people that have actually filled out an application and asked for an interview with the city of Hot Springs? No. We've had some. Officer Deneke and Officer Allen responded to that because of the salary. Officer Norris. But what we haven't seen, or what we have seen, is those people that did respond to the announcement initially because of the wage, that, okay, you got my interest. I like what I'm seeing here. What can you offer me? What health insurance do you have for family? And we can't offer them the health insurance that they need. So they said, thank you for that, but I'm not applying. So to say that we haven't got any applicants is correct, but it's not the whole story. We've had an opportunity for some of them, but our benefits haven't had them follow through. And it's important to acknowledge that.
Did I hear someone say they had a recommendation for a different amount in travel and conference?
Bob would suggest a little number.
Did anybody put a number on it?
I think what Bob asked is, are we willing to accept the number that was given to us here, because it's a thought-through number. It's not just thrown together saying, oh, give us a bunch of money to go do some stuff.
Everyone thinks through their numbers that are presented.
I know, that's the point.
Well, 8,000 plus is for strength training.
It's a $21,000 increase over what was budgeted last year in this one object line.
And that $21,000
Please give me
makes
a
me
number.
wonder whether we're reinventing a wheel here. I mean,
I mean,
this
we
is,
can
this
talk
is
about
something
this
that would be extremely beneficial, but it just was never done in the past.
Right.
No. And personally, I have lots of options in life. I'm trying to present to you what I see from the inside the police department, what will keep the police department moving forward.
So if I can just share a comment, my only comment here is that there are definite improvements that need to be made in the police budget, but is this to keep the lights on budget? And that's kind of where we're at. We're asking every other department to look at that. We're not really looking at that here, I don't think. That's just my observation.
Okay.
And I would contend that this is a lights-on budget, and I know that many people may not agree with me, but the research I've been doing with the risks that are out there, this is appropriate for where the department is, where the department needs to go.
So to the point of, is it a lights and water budget? Council, I think, fully expected to have a vehicle in here. And when I sat down and talked with them and saw what they were projecting on a lot of these other areas and a significant increase in them, I said, I'm not going to include a vehicle in your budget. So I would say that does fit with the keep the lights on and water budget. In my mind, these are appropriate things to be asking for. My first concern is that every one of them go home at night, and I know it's everybody else's. But when you look at some of these things and say, well,
I think you can buy that guarantee.
why is it so much more expensive than what it's been before? And my 6 years in all of this tells me that we wouldn't be looking at this now had there been the appropriate incremental steps in years past. We now have 2 people in place that recognize what it's going to take to get the departments where I would hope it would be. And this is what they're advocating for. So Misty's right, Jeff is right, that pick a figure here and let's move on.
If you remember right, last year, when we did our budget, put a new car in there. There's a number of councilmen that says next year there won't be a new car.
Is there one here?
Well, no, but we said that last year, so.
Now we got half a car in here. But
Well,
it's
we still have a car that might need fit.
Is there a car in this budget?
No.
So I'm honoring your request that you didn't want one here, given the fact that the budget significantly increased everywhere else. They asked for a police car. I said, no, I can't justify it with these other increases.
car that's not operable now.
Well, we're gonna get it back.
You hope.
So, what number is going in here?
27077.
Are you comfortable
I
with
agree.
that number?
No, I'm not.
What do you think?
I'm not comfortable. I'm not saying they don't need a gym, but we're paying $1,000, $1,020 for however many police officers we're gonna have.
Per person.
Whether they go or not, we're still paying that $1,000. They don't go to the gym, it's just giving the money away. And you can't make them go to the gym. I'm not happy with it, I'm sorry. I won't argue with the ammo, because I know they need ammo. I remember how many times we had to shoot all the time, but I'm not comfortable with that gym thing.
Is the majority happy with it? You ready to move on?
I'm ready.
All right, 27077 is what we're leaving in there. Telephone, yeah, you got some cuts to make later, so you'll see where you do that. We'll leave it there. 3,400 for telephone, 4,200 for electricity, 4,800 for cell phones. They all went to smartphones, and we're adding expense for new in-car computers to have service. DARE program, 2,500. That's fully funded by donations or our equity balance. Machinery and equipment, 10,900. Dash cam and body cam for Explorer. I asked why it didn't have one already. It just didn't. And that includes installation, which typically billed to professional services, but it's all in the budget, that's fine. And then 4,000 for 2 new rechargeable tasers. And Jen, that's the one you were looking for earlier of an equipment repair.
So what's your total on that?
10,900.
900, okay.
Computer software, no stops there with the machinery and equipment, we're all good there. And then computers.
What is the computer software?
That is Zerker, it's paid to the county, it's $2,778, and then in-car computer software, this is an estimate of $3,500.
And that won't get paid unless we get the darn computers.
Well, the in-car computer is, they're all for grants, for 5, it's already been approved.
This is the software.
Right, but the software goes with that. This is our portion of that or for
And
that
then
install,
the
that
sell-
we have to pay on a yearly basis.
Okay.
The initial install and everything will be paid for with the grant.
And for the service, that we
And for
added
the
that up in
service.
cell phones for
Correct.
the
Right.
service part. So that gives us a total budget of $829,860 in our police department, and we're ready to move on. 860.
So we raised it what was?
Say that again?
$829,860.
The cell phone for 4,800 is for how many cell phones?
8 smartphones.
8 smartphones.
Plus new, it's our estimate for new in-car computer expenses is $2,400.
Are there less expensive cell phone packages out there? that
That's
would
only
be-
$15 a month because we have already had them for over a year. So, and we get that as a special rate for police departments. But if they decide they want to upgrade their phones, it'll go up to $35 a month.
So that's pretty cheap now.
It's not bad. We get a special, because we're a police department, we get a special rate.
So did you say we were gonna discuss countywide police?
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
This is
Oh,
budget.
Misty, you said 829.
We're close to having that discussion.
That's up 4,300.
Yeah, we increased the supplies because the amount that was in there was not calculated correctly.
So supplies is now 24,180,
Yes, sir.
and clothing is 69.
Yeah. And vehicle repairs is down to 10.
How come I only show 826, 635? What else did we change?
Professional services is $6,075, because whether you eliminate the janitor or add the admin, it's another about $3,200. So it's in the budget one way or the other.
What line? I'm sorry.
9.
Thank you. Would you tell me the number?
Yep, $6,075.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We got one line open on River, by the way.
So, thank you. I know this was a difficult discussion, but it's a necessary discussion, and it will become more apparent why it's a necessary discussion as we continue having a conversation about countywide law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you.
If we go
Okay,
countywide,
we
it
get
won't
to
be a
keep
new
going.
car next year.
So what's the next one, Mr.
Where do I go?
Where do you want to go? You gave me those first two, is it up to me now after this? So we can go to finance, and we'll just go through the general fund now, because that's gonna be the hardest one. And that's where the most work has to happen, so.
What page is finance?
It is 4. We all ready?
No, I haven't found it on the computer.
It's on page 4.
And your computer is at the very beginning of general fund. It's the 4th tab in, out of the 26 departments in the general fund.
It's fine.
Maybe that's why I haven't found it. That's not working for me.
Find it. Go all the way to the end, it's coming back as mayor, contingency, legal, and finance.
I'm sorry. I saw it earlier. There it is. Thank you, sorry.
All right, 2023
That'll be our next
projected
hour now.
salaries and wages is $233,000. That includes finance officer, assistant finance officer, front desk administrative assistant, half of a new administrative assistant or to fill the opening, and the city administrator. Added was a $4 an hour raise for the finance officer only for mayor instructions. That's calculated also in the payroll taxes, $17,825, retirement, $14,000, workers' comp, $700, group insurance, $50,200, unemployment, $525, insurance, $1,600.
Misty, was there a real jump in insurance rates between 21 and 22?
No, it's very small, but we estimated 10% for a jump. So it goes 6 months into the year, it actually renews in May. And it has to do with how many employees take the city insurance again. So we hire a new employee, if they have it somewhere else, they don't take it, we don't pay for it, we don't budget it.
But you're looking almost 3 times higher in the 22 budget than what was in the 21. And it's even higher now, is it?
We added a new employee with an admin, our city administrator took the insurance, our assistant finance officer took the insurance, so yes, there was an increase.
Okay.
Professional services, 6,000, those are estimates, selection 3,000, American Legal Supplements 3,000. We don't spend it if we don't use it, if we don't have an election, we don't spend that money anywhere else, we save it. Vehicle repairs and gas, oil, and diesel is new in 2022. We got a real nice vehicle. I wouldn't put $500 in it myself, but that's what we have estimated for repairs. Supplies, 2,000, gas, oil, and diesel, 500. I'm not sure if those are high numbers. I haven't highlighted because they could be lower, they could be 0 for what we got. So if you want me to change them, but that seems like a reasonable amount if we're gonna use it. Travel and conference, 3,500. We do have a new city administrator, so all the municipal league trainings that he can attend.
And he needs
he
training,
should.
boy, I
We all should, they're
Amen to
good. Cell phone, 300. Machinery and equipment, 1,500. Computer software, 640. That's 1/3 of our point of sale. And then our American Legal Internet renewal annual expense.
I would say you can pull off both the repair, both 500 for the repair of that vehicle, the truck, and the gas and oil. it's minuscule, we can absorb it in another department.
Well, we'd want to bill it there if it needed it for that vehicle, so what if we drop it both to
That's
250?
fine. I'm just offering it up as a sacrifice, because it's not that much.
No, it's not gonna save much either.
No, but it's a token.
Anybody have any objections to that? I'm fine with it.
Yeah, vehicle repairs,
Change them both to
250,
250 and
gas,
gas oil.
diesel, 250.
I see it sitting there out here, but,
Yeah, I only use it a couple times.
so our new total then is 332,290.
Is that the yellow truck?
Yep.
2290.
332,290.
Can see it coming at least.
Yep.
Anything else in finance? General government buildings, be on the next page, make it easy for you. We used to have a city hall cleaner, we replaced it with a contractor, same contractor cleans the police department.
Used to.
Yeah, well, we didn't make that decision yet, we're still, and that's 2023, so we still have to talk about that. Great job, City Hall, we're happy to have her. Insurance, South Dakota Public Insurance Alliance, 7,300. Professional services, 47,500. That includes our audit expenses, our Black Hills technology expenses, bank charges, which we don't know what those will be. We have an earnings credit, so hopefully our balances offset the charges, but not always. Eagle Lab for our pest control, $450. The city website is $3,700 a year. The city hall cleaner is $43.20. And then professional services and fees would pay any electrician, plumber, or anybody who came out to look at the furnace if the heater went down. So $47,500 there.
Where's our lawyer coming from?
The legal, we already went through that. Publishing, $10,500. Building repairs, I have it highlighted, it's $15,000. Even if we don't get the feasibility engineering study for City Hall improvements, it's an old building that has a lot of needs, so I would encourage you to put something there, but I think Bob has some comments about the feasibility engineering study.
I agree with Misty. I removed the 15,000 feasibility and engineering study to see what we can do with the building. That just, for me, isn't lights and water, but the building will need some kind of repairs. So I left it at zero. Let's have that discussion with you folks to see what you feel should be in there. We're kind of all over the place. 2017, 16 was 4,000, 17 was 248, 49,000, 2,500, 2,700, 8,500.
How about 5,000? Or 7,500?
So
Well, we know the plumbing needs work.
Right, so,
Back after the process.
right, so the plumbing and the electrical, and this is a bit misleading because we talked about this originally being a feasibility study for the second floor, which we'd like to get something out of it. But there are other not structural support problems, electrical on the south side of the building, some plumbing issues. I mean, we've got to maintain our building, and this is no time for fluff, but I will tell you that it kind of puts a bad foot forward if we don't maintain our own historical building, so.
Maybe we
Just
could
like
get,
that.
maybe we could get a grant for that.
I would agree. If you want to put 5,000 in there and remove feasibility and engineering study, you're not getting an argument from me.
Yeah, but
When you put
we should look for
15,000 in
grants for,
a feasibility and engineering study.
Yeah, it's hard to get a grant when you don't have a plan,
Yeah, I've got to have something, so.
so, but 5,000 is, it's fine, I can change it to 5,000, I make them take out feasibility study. And it's something we'll have to have a plan.
Plumbers, and no offense, Ms. Wilson, electrical people aren't cheap,
No, they're not.
so.
This will just keep it on, this won't do any repairs. This will just address any issues. that
We have to
come up.
fix the sewer.
The sink repair.
That's this year.
The sink repair was 2,400,
It's
2,700.
not done though, right?
It is done now, yes, we got it done. It's done now.
Both pieces on the two, so nobody took down the list, did
We
they?
did, they took it off the mirror, yes.
So So are we gonna do anything with that big area in the back room that we dug up that concrete, or are we just gonna watch out for that?
take care of
That's not gonna be,
We'll get it done.
so we're done with that for this year?
So you think 5,000 will cover whatever you gotta do next year?
No, but
Well, and this year we'll have some left because we were also supposed to seal the basement. Those were the plans with the money we had budgeted this year. We had 15,000 budgeted, we've only used 23, so maybe we can get some of that stuff done this year still.
I'll say again, the reason I removed it was feasibility study. Jeff, if you think you need 7,500, if you think you need 15,000 to maintain the building, that's fine. But if I see a bill come through for a feasibility study for X amount of dollars,
I can't defend feasibility study in this environment.
Yeah, and I don't think we know
I
what
can't
amount we're
No, we
needing
don't.
without something.
No,
Is 5,000 gonna be enough for repairs to keep things
We
going?
don't know.
probably not, but
Or
About
do you want,
7,500.
or would you rather see that increase?
I would think that increase a little bit, go to 75 on it, we just don't know. I
We
mean,
can always use contingency for any unexpected.
I say go to 75,
75 and 15.
and then with contingency.
There were a couple hands out in the audience, I don't know.
The only thing I was gonna say is, I know that some of your ballasts and your electrical lighting in that structure really needs to be updated. You could probably save a lot of costs if you went to a different lighting type.
LED.
Yes,
LEDs.
that's exactly.
We have LED in the finance office.
But I know that the mayor's office is inadequately lit, and the reason is because the ballasts are burning out, and it's an electrical nightmare up there.
Lighting coming into your office after being everywhere else.
I appreciate you giving me a reason for being in the dark most of the time.
So equipment repairs, 6,000. We've been told since I got here that we needed to look at buying a new copier, but we are working it and they are fixing it and we are keeping it until we can't anymore. So if we come to you saying we need a new copier in the middle of the year, it's a workhorse, it gets a lot of use, but I don't see why we would buy a new one while our service contractor is still providing service to it and it's still working.
Is Marco our service?
No, it's Century Business Products at City Hall. Supplies, which includes postage, paper, envelopes, and office supplies for pretty much everybody who wants to come in and pull them out of our closet, is $7,500. Janitorial supplies
I
is
think we
six.
could take 500 off of that.
You do, you may have to supplementally appropriate it later because again, recreation, engineer, water, wastewater, Evans plunge, we do all of that.
I'd rather leave it.
Bob, you had your hand up?
I'm taking stuff out of there all the time.
Oh, you, yeah, so I'm leaving it or taking it down?
Just leave it.
Thank you.
Yeah, take stuff out there all the time.
Janitorial supplies, 1,600. Travel and conference, that's not to send anybody to conference, that's for our SAM membership fee, our South Dakota Municipal League annual membership fee, and our Black Hills Council local government fee. No fluff there, that's exactly the amount we'll spend. Telephone, 3,200. That's increased because we moved the engineer line under general government because 90% of his calls were for us anyway because it trunk hunted, so. Electricity, 4,500. Propane, depends on price and temperature, 3,500. Other current expense is highlighted. It is 11,200. We received a request to increase fireworks, to double the fireworks to 10,000 for the 4th of July, plus $1,200 for a firework control panel.
all right. So let me, can I interject? This is not a, this, council has to make a decision how valuable this is to the community. All we're saying is that the company that provides the fireworks has already told us we may be looking at 100%, possibly 100% increase in cost. We can do less, there's other things we can do, so it's not we're throwing it out there, so you can decide what you want to do.
And BID does have it in their budget to supplement fireworks by 5,000, but they did last year, so his comment, if we wouldn't be able to have the show yet this year at that price, if what
Yeah, if
they're
that's true, if it's
anticipating.
true, and that, this is just verbal, they said, be careful because next year is gonna be probably.
And what's the fireworks control panel?
Fireworks, that is actually a luxury item. I do not have to include the $1,200. It is a controller, so you're not manually lighting each forget the terminology. but
Is that what we're doing right now?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That panel is electric based.
It's electric based and this controls everything, and it's
It's like
That
a
sounds like a
soundboard.
safety.
It is a safety issue. I think it's a better thing to have, and not having guys manually light each fuse. I think it's a good idea. I don't know if I can defend it as, it really is a safety issue in my opinion. I was surprised we don't have it. You can get them for $10,000. This
If
is
the panel
not,
goes down, that's it.
yeah, it's not an expensive one, so.
I don't think we need to double for the fireworks.
I think this is, if it's shorter next year, it's shorter next year.
So
As
5,000
unpopular
for
a comment
fireworks,
as this
12.
is going to be,
What?
as unpopular as this comment is going to be, it is going to be in the same vein as the same comment at every other budget hearing I have ever attended.
Yep.
Cut it to zero, ask for donations for fireworks.
So was the recommendation cut it back to 5 and keep the 1,200 for the control panel? Is that
Or,
comfortable?
or are you entertaining a zero?
Yeah, or entertain 0, as Bob said. Either way, it's fine.
I would recommend 5.
I'd say 5 and the control,
Okay.
62.
62.
I agree with that.
All right, $2,400 for computer software, that's our fund accounting, payroll, and vault backup, and our time card module. I have a total of $112,700 after your cuts.
Where are we sitting on Bob's balance?
I don't know about Bob's balance, but I can tell you that this balance,
I don't want to hear that one.
oh, well, but we haven't gotten to all his yet, so we are still $462,873 in the hole. Bob?
So,
I know, there's a lot. I wish I could leave after one department.
Yeah.
I just want to go.
Misty keeps referring to an amount much bigger than mine. I want to make sure I'm doing the thing right. So, projected revenue, Misty had said the other night, is $3,497,405. I'm showing we haven't gained much. We're still at 62. When we take a break, I need to confirm that figure.
Projected revenue 3497405. Yep.
And showing projected expenses is,
Well, I think once we get through all the departments, Bob, we'll be closer. Because you have cuts that we haven't gotten to those departments yet, so I wouldn't worry about.
Engineer?
Engineer,
Next
engineer,
page.
next page,
Engineer.
make it easier now, we're plugging along. Engineer's pretty light and simple. 20% of our engineer salaries and wages is paid from this department in the general fund. The remaining 80% is split in between water and wastewater. So we have 18,900, payroll taxes 1,500, retirement 1,150, workers' comp 500, group insurance 3,700, also split, unemployment 125, insurance 320, vehicle repairs 500. I'll just go on. Supplies 200, gas, oil, and diesel 500, 1,500 for travel and conference, engineering professional conference, first in 5 years. We had those same notes in 2022, but I'm pretty sure with all the projects and water breaks and stuff that that's not going to happen for him this year. So, if we can leave it, change it.
Is travel and conference up? I know it's only $300.
Well, and he hadn't ever used some before, and then we were for the first time going to send him to something this year, but then with everything going on.
This is prices going up.
Well, and we don't even know if we'll be able to go next year either, but, so maybe that should be highlighted, but if I don't hear from you to take it out or lower it.
Well, I don't think it has to be there, because with the street project, we've got full money for it.
You have to have time to go. You either go this year or probably won't let it try.
Okay, am I hearing to drop that to 0?
Is that the travel and conference?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I suggest. I don't think he'll go even if he wants to.
It's 1,500?
Probably reality.
0, okay.
Zero balance on
$300 for telephone, that's lower because we moved that line. $60 for cell phone, that's split. $27,755.
And that's a savings of $4,300 over last year.
Yeah, we took the phone away, that was a big one, the expense. All right, we already went through the police budget, I don't want to do that again. Support services, fire development coordinator, and that is on page 10. We removed the 1/3 city hall admin assistant, we just split it between finance and water, so that's 60,000 for salaries and wages, 4525 for payroll taxes, 3,550 for retirement, 225 for workers' comp, 11,200 for group insurance, 130 for unemployment, $700 for insurance, 300 for professional services, I'm not sure what those would be, 200 for legal ads and public notices, $500 for the 08 Dodge Durango, it should probably be lower. So if it is lower, the extra money should go in supplies, because I don't think 600 is enough.
We can drop that to 1,000, a vehicle repair, if the council is okay with that.
Vehicle repairs 500.
Yeah, we can drop it to $1,000.
Never mind, I'm sorry, I got wrong
If
numbers.
we drop it to 250, I recommend we put that in supplies.
Agreed.
That's- Sorry, I
250 added to supplies.
So 850, because he's already at 675 year to date, and I'm not sure. Uh, 500 for gas, oil, and diesel. Again, I think that could go down to 250. I don't think he likes driving that very much.
I agree.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's public.
How do you really feel about that?
Travel and conference, we have 1,500, South Dakota Planners Group Annual Conference with travel, ICC membership, and South Dakota Builder membership. Telephone, 1,125, cell phone, 300, total 85,105.
Is there 2 employees in there, or does he make that kind of money?
It's just him.
So the cost for paying properly?
Next one is
What did you cut
He's
down?
not paid it
Did
properly.
you cut
It's in the-
fuel?
8, what did I cut fuel down to?
Yeah,
250,
okay.
and 85,105.
Got
Do we want to drop the travel and conference by 1,000 by not sending him to the planners group and just paying the memberships?
Sounds good to me.
I asked the question.
Is having him go to a conference a lights and water thing?
I don't know what training is.
I'm not familiar with what the,
I mean, you gotta cut a budget.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I mean, I'm looking at every department. I mean, we've talked about this. You've gotta cut a budget, and yet you're not doing anything on travel and conference. And some of those things you can't do anything on, but when you're sending people on money that you don't have, are you gaining that much?
Well, that's why I say, Bob, I think, my
That's
recommendation,
only 475, so
Right.
we can't drop it by 1,000.
the rest are memberships. So we can go to 1,500.
It is at 1,500.
I apologize, then, I'm reading bad
We
numbers.
could go down to 1,100
You want to
or
look at my paper?
1,000.
Someone for technology, man.
Well, 1,000 for
1,000.
this travel and conference.
So 84,605.
Yes.
Is our new total. And we're on to highways and streets. Want to take a little break? Does anybody else have to go? Okay. Page 11. Salaries and wages, 275,000, includes 9 full-time. We added 1 last year, 1 this year. 1 year-round part-time and 3 seasonal part-time shared. 21,000 payroll taxes.
Oh, I'd like to talk about those salaries and wages. I think Billy deserves more money than what he's making.
So personnel discussions, probably about wages and a specific employee, probably occur in executive session. If you want to increase that amount, we can.
Okay.
For every dollar, it's $2,080.
I don't care.
And then the other applicable
All the other
increases
stuff,
that
too.
are tied to that rate. So,
The department head, not saying any names, I think should get a little bit more money for what he does. Am I the only one thinking that?
I agree.
Isn't that kind of built into your scale though?
Nope.
we do have a scale, but any increases, this does include an increase for him as it does every other employee, either longevity or step, and a 50-cent COLA. So
He's on,
this would increase his wage, but I don't know what wage you're looking for.
I can guarantee he's down there at that break. He's on every break. He don't work for our department, but he's on every break. And we always ask him to do extra stuff.
This is an executive session, though, we should, Craig.
I'm not saying the name.
Well, you are, you're talking about one through person, that's the problem.
Department head.
Does anybody else want me to adjust that number? 21.
If you adjust the 275,000, you're adjusting all the others.
Yes, I am. And it's going up, not down.
I was thinking $2 an hour. Deborah thought 4 at that last meeting.
No,
Yeah, that's what she said.
I was.
Council, recommendation on what we're doing here?
Keep going
Can
at
we
it.
address personnel issues in a separate form?
We can address if we want to increase this amount, but not be specific as to.
Yes.
And I have to have a good calculation.
Boom.
One person, 4,000, but for them 160, if it's $2, I have to know what you want me to adjust, but.
That certainly doesn't
Or-
drop the bottom line that we
Save
have
that
to drop.
conversation for another time, and we can keep going.
Yeah, my recommendation is rather than slow this process down, we bring that up as, at a different council meeting and address, an executive session if you want on a specific person, or in general, if you want to talk about it in public, but that we can do it anytime during the year, we can do it if
It
we want.
won't be in the budget that way.
No, that's correct, it won't be.
But we can still do it because we still gotta have 2 readings of this before it goes in, right?
And the first starts in September, so you shouldn't have any changes between the first and second, because then you have to have another first reading, then we won't meet the deadline to have it passed in time.
But Craig, what you're advocating for is to raise salary dollars in highways, streets, and roads by $2 an hour for one employee
Yes.
to be identified later.
Yep.
Anyone else?
So that would be a total of $4,160, plus the increase in all the other
The FICA and
Right.
retirement.
Yeah, I
which
can do
comes-
the math. Does anyone else agree with that? To add that now?
Read.
No.
We just did across the board increases.
You did.
I'd vote 2. There's 3 of us at 2.
We still have to find where don't we have to find
Yes.
the money that we already increased to begin with, and we're gonna increase it again? We haven't even found the money yet that we have.
And that's just for one
And
person.
not only that, but you're gonna have to find out where you're gonna
Well,
subtract it
exactly,
from
that's what,
coming
yes,
up.
correct. So until we get that,
You need to get
I
the bottom
can't.
line taken
I
care of.
can't
Then we
justify
can't-
that
Then we
yet.
can't. We'd have to come back and change this then, which we can do that.
You can always appropriate a budget after it's, supplementally appropriate a budget after it's passed also. It's not like you you didn't do it.
But we can come back to this before we get done with the whole thing.
We can.
Yeah,
Once you see the final gap and know where you're at.
right,
Am I leaving it?
let's move
Yes.
on.
Yep. 12,500 workers' comp, 77,800 insurance, 800 unemployment, 14,600 for insurance, 12,000 for professional services. Those kind of things are things like random drug tests, fire extinguisher testing, recharge, delivery fees, specialty services, and large tree removals. First highlighted is vehicle repairs, 17,500.
Yes, you going back to the professional services,
Yes.
90, or 2020 was 9,300, 21 was 9,100. You passed a budget of 22,000 in 2022, and yet only 773 has been spent.
We were expecting 2 CWT employees from the VA, and we have not had any. That's where we pay them from. We get the
Okay.
ability to have them, so the 2022 was budgeted with 12,500 for CWT workers that we didn't get.
So that was the anomaly in 22.
Do we have enough in there for fire extinguisher testing? It seems like we got,
We do that annually.
this year seemed to be an anomaly.
It's because they were told that the guy that told them to buy more extinguishers last year told them to buy extinguishers that couldn't be serviced, and they had to buy all new ones. But then they heard that they didn't have to,
So are we better now?
so then, till we get another person, just tell us what, something, and we just follow along.
So we did buy extinguishers that we didn't need?
Well, the ones that we bought, we were told that they couldn't be recharged or serviced,
Right.
and that they needed to be replaced. So they replaced them all, but then the old ones were still good enough to have and use, because they weren't expired yet. So, yeah, we should have a good amount of fire extinguishers, and we put them in all vehicles and equipment.
Okay, thank you.
That large tree removal.
I'm
At the
sorry?
Catholic Church.
Large tree removal. He says
Yeah, we
professional-
pay, at
he
the
says
dog park, we
professional
pay to
services.
remove a large tree. In different parks where there's large trees that need to be taken down, we can only do it up to a certain size. We have to contract out when it gets bigger for
They
safety.
keep talking about the one behind the Catholic Church.
I think our
Billy-
city guys
Billy
plan on
says he
taking
can
that
take
down.
that
though.
That one we're taking out, but
Okay.
we can't take them all
So
out.
what other one are they talking about?
I don't think they have one in mind. The professional services pay for those kinds of services as they come up.
It's not a singular large tree.
I
It's
just
not
wanted to
something we
ask,
have
I
in
just wanted to
mind.
ask a
Large,
question.
large tree removal as necessary.
Right, that's all.
Does anybody want to cut that? We had a lot of discussion on professional services. Does anybody make any recommendations to cut that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Vehicle repairs, 17,500.
And where did we come up with that number?
This is Adam, and it's not the same, because they have way more pieces of equipment. If he picked $1 amount of times to buy the equipment, it'd be
He's
way
not-
bigger
he's not
than
doing
this.
that.
But it's him wanting to do more routine maintenance to keep up the vehicles, I believe. But it is highlighted because there might be room for some cuts, but if we cut, we have to be ready to provide the funding if necessary, if some big piece of equipment goes out.
Like the street sweeper. That we
Well,
decided
that's
to
under
keep.
warranty
Right,
still.
it's
That
supposed to
needs
get-
to be.
Not 23.
Well, they
But
need
it
to
isn't
fix
22
everything
until
before
March.
that.
Well, guys, I'm trying to be a little bit sarcastic here. All I'm saying is you made the decision to keep the old street sweeper.
Yeah.
That's an example of more
Street
higher
cleaning, we'll get to that one.
vehicle repairs. Right.
We can always cut your salary.
Yeah. you can always-
Salary is hard to cut.
I bought a round trip ticket.
Vehicle repair staying at 17,500.
Yeah.
Okay. 3,500 for building repairs.
We could use a lot more there.
That's for,
Not for
Well,
some-
that building's not that old up there.
Have a whole lot.
What do you want to do to it?
Well, I'm thinking the Mueller Center.
29,000 for equipment repairs. 15,000 for street walk repairs. 4,000 for supplies, safety and routine PPE, gloves, glasses, hearing protection, mud boots, corrugated pipes, sand, dense grade stone. 4,000 clothing, that's $400 each for 9 full-time employees. 200 of that, 400 is for boot reimbursement up to 200, and $100 each for 4 part-time employees. 2,500 for janitorial supplies, 4,000 in minor tools, 16,000 in gas, oil, and diesel, 3,000 in signs, 1,500 for travel and conference.
Do they go places?
The safety conference in Piers, the only kind of training I've ever seen anyone in this department
That's where
attend.
Lori
Mhm.
And we could pull that for this year, just do video training if we, online training.
Maybe we ought to do that.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm changing that to 0. Safety conference is gone. 14, oh, there might be something with us keeping our gold level for safety, which gives us discounts on our insurance, so,
I'll find out.
yeah.
I think it makes a difference whether they
If
go
we
to.
attend,
Yeah.
yep, I think it does. And so let's figure that out, but I'll take it out now, but
I'll find out.
You can always put it back.
in 1,500, you would
I was
these
gonna
other
say-
ones that are higher, hopefully we can absorb that if we need it to. With the
Half that amount to get whatever is required.
telephone is 1,400, 10,000 for electricity, 8,000 for propane, varies based on weather and price and if there's a leak. 700 for cell phone, 24,000 for improvement other than buildings.
So
Jeff's
let-
probably tired of
No,
hearing me
I'm
talk about this.
Yeah, look, this, I was asked, well, no, I wasn't asked. I recommended we put this in, we can take it out. This is to purchase additional benches and the trash cans and whatnot along the new areas of construction. It came up with the extra wide 15-foot sidewalk. You know, we've had arguments about whose responsibility is, the businesses or whatever. But the businesses won't do this, I'm sure, well, I shouldn't say won't, but it should be a big expense, but it's not. And so I put it in there saying this is what it's gonna cost us to do it, if we wanna go out there and put in some benches and some pots and, you know, trash cans and stuff, but.
Well, if we're gonna use the old sandstone for benches on the suspended sidewalk, and we got more sandstone like those,
We can always do that.
take it up.
We're talking about, you know, some big
Well, I get what
planters
you're
for the,
saying,
you know, some
yeah.
small, look, and these are pretty things. I'm not saying it's a requirement, it's not keeping the lights on. If we don't do it this year, we do it next year.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do that this year.
That's
But we
fine.
need to do something that makes it look congruent. And we don't want all the businesses doing something separate and making that whole block look mashed and mixed up and.
Let me say this, Deb,
It'll be a new sidewalk, right?
yeah, but for 10,000, we could do some. I mean, if you wanna split this up a little bit, leave some money in there if we can buy what we can buy, if we can buy some trash cans and, you know, some plants, whatever.
Yeah, I'd like to
But we're
maybe,
only
you know, at
halfway
least
through.
do
Yeah.
the like 3 main big pots.
Yeah.
Start with that, and we can do our own benches with the sandstone, and start
Again,
with
we're,
that.
again, we're only halfway through the project, not even halfway through.
Right.
And this is just on
Project,
Jennings.
yeah.
How do we tell,
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, this
how do we
is,
tell the other businesses in front of their storefronts
Yeah.
not as important as
Well,
these
they don't
ones?
have a 15-foot sidewalk. It looks-
Some parts on the river, North River, we have.
but look, all that
There is
aside,
honesty.
at the end of the day, when we have our whole new road going through town, we should make it look nice. And if we don't do it this year, we should do it next year. And if we can do a little bit this year, as we finish the project, each part of it, we can do some things and make it nicer.
Yeah, we need to cut that because we might have to have that top line. So we need to cut to 20, I think this year.
There's a question.
Can you, pardon me, can you make the planting out of the
Sandstone.
planting out of the sandstone? You've got plenty
wanna-
of that,
they
that would
wanna-
blend with the benches and,
They wanna plant trees and stuff in these big pots.
So it was one
well,
of
for
my,
flowers at least, you could do,
Flowers are nice, but they take so much maintenance
They
and water,
do.
and who's gonna do that?
yeah.
this
Well,
year?
The business owners won't put them out there, they're not gonna water them either.
I think
Keep
we ought
Hot
to cut it
Springs
for this
Beautiful
year.
is wanting to do all that. They, you know, you can adopt one of the pods and stuff and make that maybe part of it, I don't know, have
Well,
to.
Peapod Springs Beautiful did agree to do this, when we get to do it, that's a small part of it. This is a huge chunk of money, whatever council
Yeah.
wants to do on this.
I think it's
Zero?
too much.
I think zero.
It was one of my lights and water deductions.
20,000 for machinery and equipment, which is a hydrolift for 12,000 and a tire balancing machine for 8.
And it was on my hit list.
If I can make a recommendation, in spite of above hit list, is to remove the hydrolift and just buy the tire balancing machine, which is a very unsafe piece of equipment right now. We've had some near injuries on that thing. So I just would recommend that we can change this to 8, that would be lovely.
I agree.
I'd go for that. The
When you talk
20,000 down
safety,
to
I-
8.
Yeah, it's.
And put a price on that.
Machinery and
We've had some near misses.
What kind of balancer they buy?
You know that's no better than I do, I don't know. This is what Adam was saying, this would cost him to buy that machine, I don't know. Maybe we get a better deal on it, I don't know.
I imagine it's probably a spin balancer. that will have
Oh,
some
yeah,
tire.
but still, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe price are different than, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Did I hear most agreeing to the 8?
Everybody okay with it?
Yes.
We removed, I just don't want to forget what we removed, a hydrolift. What is a hydrolift?
That's where it lifts the vehicle up.
Do we
So
not
you
have
can
one?
be
They have an
underneath of it.
electric one, how many they need?
I'm almost Okay. And then you took on some new debt this year. This would be year 2 of our 6-year lease for a new John Deere 624P wheel loader. So $30,095 in principal, $5,303 in interest. We now have a total in the streets department of $589,698. We're on to snow removal. So salaries and wages between the maintenance employees is split. In total, we need over $420,000. We do our best guess to determine how much time they're gonna spend street cleaning, how much time they're gonna spend snow removal. So $28,000 is my best guess for salaries and wages. $2,150 for payroll taxes, $1,600 for retirement. Vehicle repairs and snow removal is $5,000. That's for routine standard maintenance, plow tips and edges, and hydraulic mount repairs. I'm not sure what aprons are, is that what that
Or
is?
the outer.
Okay.
Outer blades.
Parts.
$2,500 for equipment repairs, or vehicle, equipment repairs. Did somebody have something?
I thought we did this.
Oh, did we do this
Yeah,
one
we
yesterday?
are.
I'm sorry. Well, let's not do it again.
Let's not do it again.
Street lighting, we did, street
Yeah.
cleaning, we did, okay, nuisance and complaints, which is on page, sorry guys, I don't wanna do it more than
Oh,
one.
I'm enjoying it.
Nuisance
Several
and
times we
complaints
do
is
this.
page 18, nope, 16. We have 4,000 for contracted service, 5,000 to address localized cleanups, that's under repairs and maintenance, and $50 for supplies and material.
So, look, can I address these 2 things to council? The 5,000 repairs and maintenance is completely a discretionary line for council to decide, allowing us the money to go out and clean up some of these places that the owners won't, where we have to go in and do action. We don't have it now, we haven't had the money to do it. This is probably not a good year to try and start spending that money. So that's that line. 4,000, we want to go with half. Right now, our contract with, whatever the company, Joel, is doing the
Code enforcement.
code enforcement at 9,000. He's bitten off the major piece of that with the first 160 letters and all that. So, and we also now have the process down. So what we want to do is go ahead and drop that down to 4,000 for next year. Find somebody locally to do the same thing essentially. And then have Scott take on more of that oversight. We want to give it that. Anyway, those are the 2.
I think that the 5,000 should be dropped. I don't think they're gonna have the time. We're very busy with this road project, and those guys are not gonna have the time
This
to
would
go out
be-
and clean up somebody's property.
This would be to hire like you to go out and do it.
Oh, they're
Yes.
not, they don't have enough money.
Well, I know, I'm just saying that.
Well, I'm saying,
Professional services.
Yeah, right, you're absolutely correct, both of you, and probably 5,000 is a drop in the bucket, really, in the grand scheme of things, what we really need to do, so I'm not sure.
So we haven't spent any of the 9,000 we got budgeted for this year?
You spent $1,500 and you have a contract with Joel Johnson, he just hasn't billed yet.
Okay, because I hate to see us have this momentum going and then just to drop it. I mean, we have the people on board understanding that they have to abide by these ordinances now, and then we're just gonna say, oh, never mind.
And we're still gonna do it.
Well, I think we're just gonna
because
do
there's
it,
less.
but I agree with you 100%, and if we had it having a solid year, I would say 9,000 is fine. But I think that we can do it for less and do it as just, now that we know the process, because honestly, Joel has kind of set up a template on what we're doing.
Now, can we insert $5,000 in revenue, because that should be recoverable?
Because there's no guarantee you're getting anything collected.
I recommend you keep something in there for the repairs and maintenance. 3 years ago, when Kim Barbieri was still the city administrator, there was a property up on 21st and something that we spent about $2,700 to clean up one property.
And the ones that are gonna be left for us are going to be those ones.
Did you want to finish what you say now?
I'm just, stop it. I'm just
So I think
backing
you
up.
need to leave something there for when there's that one property that you want to deal with, that is going to cost the city something. And if you have nothing, then maybe it comes out of contingency or wherever. But so you want to go
And
half.
we actually have about 4 of those properties,
There's only
actually.
4.
So what amount?
I think we should leave it the way it is.
20,000.
Well, like Bob said, at 2,700, 5,000 won't get us a whole lot unless we have really bad ones that we need to look at.
This isn't gonna be chamber of bucks, right?
Unless we can take what we don't spend out of this
That
year's
wasn't my idea,
allocation
and
and
there's
put.
still chamber bucks that
Right,
are not
right,
on
right.
solar that are
I
out
mean,
there.
I was being serious by saying that, Misty gets it, you know, this is not gonna be chamber of bucks, so, yeah, okay.
What number?
I don't know, there's so many properties, when I drive around town now, like I told Jeff, there's one just
Two doors down.
2 doors down, that, and I don't understand why these people can't be told to keep up their yards and enforce them to do that. Somehow, there's gotta be a way, because there's ordinances that. I just don't understand.
You can't enforce it, you make them leave property, but it's.
Well, the other one, sorry.
That's all right, no, I-
The other one around, where I live at, on the backside of there, you've seen it. The
2,500.
guy don't even live here,
2,500,
he lives
thank
in
you.
California, he's never here.
I was complaining about that to Scott.
Yeah.
More than
So we split the difference, 2,500 is
2,500.
something, if we need more.
To each,
Or repairs and maintenance?
Yeah.
That's what you're-
Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes, ma'am.
I think we ought to leave it, but I'll go
I think
on
we ought to
with
leave
that.
it too.
That's two.
I don't wanna lose the
Yeah, I don't
momentum
want
we've got
to-
going.
There's two to,
And we're gonna be
Well,
left with the
fine.
most expensive properties to deal with.
if we have to, we can always look at contingency or supplemental appropriation if we
Yeah,
have
that
to.
only lasts so long.
You're right. So 2,500, it sounds like most except for 2 are in agreement with that.
I'm
Take
okay
now.
with leaving it where it was.
Okay,
I
that's
I didn't think it was
Yeah,
that
I'd
long.
leave it where it is, because, I mean, it's a drop in the bucket, but still, there's gonna be,
5,000?
I think so.
And we're leaving 4,000 on the professional services, right?
Leave the, so we're leaving the
Yes.
4,000 and then,
Didn't change anything then.
All right.
And
so
it's
we're
at
leaving 4,000?
4,000 and 5,000 and the 50 for $90,050.
9,000.
9,000, sorry. You're running out of places to cut, so.
That's
but
a zero.
there's a big one coming up. Okay, airport.
Airport.
Page 17. 38,000 for salaries and wages, that's one full-time airport manager, and 16 hours a week for some summer help, May through August. 2,900 payroll taxes, 2,100 retirement, 950 workers' comp, 11,200 group insurance, 135 unemployment, 5,850 for insurance, 5,000 for professional services. Even though the calculated amount is,
Way over 5,000.
no, it's way under, because we eliminated the $5,800 used for our irrigation contract, so MSA is 1,500, fire extinguisher inspection is 150, and air nav is 50.
So what should it be?
I don't know.
Do the math.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
that'd be
My
15,
recreation map says
16,
1,000.
it's 1,700.
Okay.
But there might be other things that they have, I don't know, because they've spent more than 1,700 in the past, but.
I will make a statement across the board, there's a lot of things that, and Bill, you know this, that we've had to do out there that haven't been done like everything in a lot of other areas. So there are expenses this year that weren't really budgeted for, so
And
next
this-
year,
This is professional services and fees, so we can leave it, we can lower it. Tell me what.
Well, we're sitting at 1,084.
We spent 2,800 last year.
I would recommend we drop to 3 if council agrees.
Thank
I'll agree
you.
with 3,000.
Yeah, that,
3,000.
at least 3.
Okay.
I'll agree, 1,500. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a $2,000 cut, but it's something.
You know, what's
And
it
then
easy?
highlight that.
We're gonna do 3.
Vehicle repairs are at 3,000. They do have new in 2022 an 05 Dodge Ram, 99 Dodge Durango, a courtesy car, and an 05 Ford Freestyle as courtesy car.
And they were doing this before out of high, it wasn't a big budget for the, in the airport. So.
Everybody fine with 3,000 for vehicle repairs? 10,000 for,
Wait. Bill's got a weird look on his face.
I don't know, Rick did a lot of work getting the 2 existing cars fixed up this year so that they were safe, usable. Somebody donated a 3rd vehicle, I don't know what kind of shape it's in.
We really need 3 vehicles out there?
did we get a donation?
I thought somebody said we got a 3rd.
The 05 Ford Freestyle was the one that I have a donation for, maybe, I
That
haven't
is the
heard.
3rd one, I believe. But let me point out too, even though you don't show it on here, even though this is not an enterprise, there's a revenue source from those cars. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're making $50 a day off of these cars, and he's running out lately on the weekends. So,
So we're not gonna buy a new one with
I'm not
this.
suggesting that, all I'm saying is, remember, there's a direct income from these cars.
Can we get by with 2,000?
I would say yes. I would say yes.
Anybody object to lowering it to 2,000?
No?
If I have to get a supplemental, it would be because the revenues are higher on those particular.
Then we have to say yes to that.
Yes, you do.
Okay, 10,000 building repairs, remove shed, add electrical post, update fuel system, change all lights to LED, are the notes.
It's on my hit list. Starts out at 10,000, I took it down to 3,000. Not sure what shed it is that needs to be removed, but does the shed need to be removed right now? Add electrical post, not sure what that's about. Update fuel system, change all lights to LEDs.
I'd take that pole down for you if you want me to.
So
I'll
3,000.
volunteer.
I would suggest 5,000 unless council wants to.
I was
go
gonna
to
say
3.
5,000.
The LEDs, I think, that he's talking about are in the big city hangar.
They are. And that'll reduce our electrical bill too.
And I think the shed that he's talking about is
The
the
one
shed
around
that
the
covers
pole.
the pole and the gas pump.
Wasn't that this year though? Did we budget for building repairs this year to do that?
That's what John Gregory told me.
Where's he at year to date on this line?
1943 out of
We could probably
3,000.
remove the shed this year then.
Would that allow us to drop it down another 1,000?
No, I think that will get us down to 5,000 safer, personally. That's my recommendation.
You guys be careful when you take that shed out, that Jim Squirt that's on it.
3,000 or
We could
5,000?
sell that.
Are you okay with 5?
Okay, 5. Change to 5. Equipment repair, 5,000. Mower blades and snow plow, these are the same notes as last year.
Yeah, plus the
Airport
maintenance.
maintenance, lines, lamps, reflectors, gates, and fencing.
He's over budget, I believe, this year, or he will be, if he's not already. I think he is over already on this. And this goes back to the same thing, he's just trying to get caught up on something that wasn't done for a while. I think 5,000 is a bona fide number, to be honest.
Leave it?
Yeah.
Okay, 1,000 for supplies. 98,000 for airport fuel for resale, that's too high. We can cut
We need Misty's price on this, whatever you want to put in there.
40 to 50,000. I had to explain, it's not, when you buy fuel, we don't automatically you charge that to expense because it's inventory. It's an asset, it's a value until it's sold. And then we expense it at cost. So
Cut it down to 48,000?
that even seems legal, it's 17 year to date.
Yeah,
So 45 would probably be,
okay.
if we go up higher, that's great, but because fuel prices are going up, it doesn't necessarily directly equate to this figure,
So 45,000.
or 48 or
45.
45. And like Jeff was saying with the car, if it's higher, it means we're selling more, so our offset when we supplementally appropriate will be additional revenue. Okay, 600 for other materials for resale. That is for oil and windshield washer fluid for resale. It was added in 2017. We don't have great controls over it, but is what it is. 300 for janitorial supplies. We completely removed the porta potties in 2021, right?
Yep.
So we don't have that expense anymore. I'm gonna take those notes out because it was $300 a year plus $90 for cleaning. So this is just for cleaning supplies then. $600 for minor tools. I think that's another one. He's way over year to date. He thought he could just buy whatever he wanted.
Don't we all?
Yep, 1,500 for agricultural supplies, 2,800 for gas, oil, and diesel, 2,000 for signs, which we budgeted for signs for the first time in a while this year, this 2022 year, and had required regulatory fueling system signage on there then.
What's this year date on sign?
We haven't spent, anybody's gone over, and so many others that that's gonna,
We can drop the signs to 500 and we'll use this year's money, do what we gotta do.
okay?
If that's okay with council.
Anybody object?
Nope.
Okay, I'll change the signs to 500. And then we have 800 for travel and conference, annual airport conference.
I think we've cut everybody else. We need to.
He's only spent 516 year to date.
And you went to it this year, yeah.
So we dropped to 5. What? Thing is, we cut everybody else's travel.
Not everybody's yet.
Yeah. Well, we did cut
500?
Only,
We had it.
Okay.
So are we doing 500, we're leaving 800? Somebody speak up.
500.
500.
500.
If there's some regulatory things that is, and I think there are at this conference, it's not just,
It's in Deadwood this year too, so it's closer, so maybe,
so 500, are we leaving 500 in there?
yeah.
Okay.
I think you're right, Bill, I think there is some requirement.
2,400 for telephone, 7,800 for electricity, 4,500 for propane, varies based on weather, great. Water, not sure of the estimate, but we're being billed now by Fall River water users, so that's the best guess. They did not charge us for a few months this year, so looking at the year-to-date would not give you a good indicator of what we're anticipating for expenses. Cell phone, 425 new in 2021. The airport manager got a smartphone that monitors camera system. Buildings, $2,500. Had shower stalls in city hangar to support overnight stays. It says with the revenue line, but we don't have one yet, or a fee set up for that revenue.
She won't let me record the revenue line, so.
No, because
Right. I
we might not
understand.
add this shower.
Okay,
Can you just go to Walmart and get one of those solar towers?
we can probably do it for less. We could probably do this for less.
And water.
We want to cut it to 1,500, it's fine. It does have a revenue line because we're keeping pilots in, they're camping out there, it's.
Buying fuel.
They're buying snacks and fuel and renting cars, so it definitely is offset by some revenue, but I'm okay dropping it a little bit if you want to.
So it was on my hit list, and I only say that because however you adjust it, then the dollar figure you were after, what was mine, is going to go up. Bill and I looked at it, and there's certainly a utility closet, I guess, for lack of a better name, that could be converted, but it's up to you.
It could wait a year.
You can wait a year.
Any-
We have garden hose out there.
Anybody
necessary right
object
now.
to 0? Okay,
Yeah.
taking it out.
Well, should there be something in there though?
No, because it's not building repair.
I mean, is it,
Oh,
is it a
I'm
necessity?
We already put
Okay,
$5,000.
gotcha. Okay,
You
zero.
honestly probably get it done in building repairs, which it is, because this is to buy a new building and that's not what we're doing.
That's a good point.
So,
So buildings is zero,
yes.
okay?
Machinery and equipment, 23,500.
Ouch, what do we buy?
The line stripper,
4,000 and one replacement more at 19,500.
I hate to say this, we could probably get by you. The stripper we don't need, striper, sorry, not striper. Striper we probably need, but striper we don't.
Striper. Well, good.
I
Sorry,
was
I'm not-
just stripping off the line.
Are we dropping that to zero
We
then?
drop this to zero, you guys okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, 950 is computer software, and he cannot spend that on anything else because it is the annual maintenance fee for our fueling station terminal. So 146, 210.
What?
And you finally did some good cuts.
You said 146?
146.
The airport took it in the shorts for us.
Well, I've had a lot in there too.
I've got some other people's gonna have to too.
Okay,
You made a mistake.
so at,
What?
you're getting a
I don't know how else to say
confident
this.
now. Professional services was the first one we changed, was 3,000.
Okay, let me go back up.
It's line 9.
Oh, okay, that's where it's at.
You didn't have that one?
Special services, I got 2,500,
Yeah, we did 3,000.
but it's 3,000 on that.
Oh, you have 2,500 too,
I
JR?
have 2,500 on it, yeah.
Does anybody else have that? I have
Yeah.
3,000.
Yeah.
I've got
You have 3,000?
I've got
Me
3,000.
too.
I've got 1,200.
On what?
Professional services,
So I got 25 or 3?
I have 3 also.
I thought we redid the math on this, said it was $1,700. Didn't we do that? Didn't you
We
do the
did,
math?
but we added some extra for
Oh, okay.
other stuff that they might
Okay.
have. We redid the math, you're right.
Okay.
Oh, and then you said 25 first, and you went up 300,
Somebody
3,000,
said 3.
okay.
So 3 is what we have, and then are you at 146, 210 now?
Let me look. I'm at that, because that's what you told me to write down.
Okay,
Exactly.
all right. Cemeteries,
Cemeteries.
I do? He wants 1,500.
we have one full-time, one part-time, 45,000 for salaries and wages. 3,450 for payroll taxes, 2,400 for retirement, 1,250 for workers' comp, 11,050 for group insurance, 175 for unemployment, 550 for insurance, 4,400 for professional services, which is weed spraying and chemicals, 800 for vehicle repairs, and primarily that's high because she needs new brakes. Or is planning to need new brakes, because if she needs them today, she can get them today.
On what?
Her 2000 Dodge Ram pickup.
Well, all vouch for having brakes.
Yeah, equipment repairs, 300. We moved 1,500 from street walk repairs and sewer water repairs to the 701 Cemetery Perpetual Care Fund. But I left the notes in here and left it highlighted so you know we still plan on repairing and adding millings for 1,000 and general irrigation repairs and water line repairs for 500. Supplies 200, janitorial supplies 75, minor tools 250, agricultural supplies 300, it's grass seed, gas, oil, and diesel 1,600, 700 for electricity, 17,000 in machinery. It's highlighted, that's for 2 riding mowers, 30 and 40 inch with no dollar amount, and 1/2 of a hydro seeder at $2,038 that replaces an aging and failing non-com Toro. The other half is in parks.
I thought she got a lawnmower.
She's got 2 of them, I forgot.
She just got a new one this year.
So we're gonna buy 2 more new ones?
Yeah.
I would say you can hold off, we can hold off a year on both these mowers.
Oh, that was on my hit list to start out at 17, I took it down to 7. She needs other machinery. The hydro seeder, Jeff, help me understand that one. What is,
So this was originally, this is actually something that's used by several different departments. So streets uses it, parks uses it, cemetery uses it. Any place where we're grading, we use it on the river to hydro seed down there. So this is, we do need a new, we have an old hydroseeder that's not working anymore. They're only about $4,000, so we split it between cemetery and parks, excuse me. Thank you. So,
So is this, how come the streets and stuff isn't helping them?
Well,
It's-
we don't know who's gonna use it the most. Parks and cemeteries are the two that are splitting the cost, but we share equipment,
So
both
it's
departments.
2,000 apiece?
Yeah,
So why don't we cut this 17,000 down to 2,000?
that's,
or 2050, because it's over 4,000. This 2038 is our quoted price.
Parks pay for the difference.
But one place or another, it's all general
2,800
fund.
2,800 then?
No, I'd say 2050, 2050.
2015? Thank you, Fred.
And I'm taking out the 2 riding mowers. Just leave it at that.
I'm so proud of Stan that talked
2050
about
or
it.
2,500?
2050.
2050.
And so now our total for cemeteries is $74,550.
so we can put things in perspective. We'll go to parks next.
Then you wanna know what we're short, don't you?
Yeah,
Right away after
no, because that will help them make,
The next ones are pretty easy.
Okay, then do
We
it.
just jump through 'em.
I don't want to do recreation.
Okay, you wanna skip over recreation?
You
Okay, transit, they had a late request, I emailed all of you, $10,000 was their request.
I'm not saying.
Conversation,
I only got 5,000 on here.
that's what I put in, very first time, because that's what that was last year. This year's budget, you have 0.
Well, I think we ought to pass on this one until the end, like we're gonna, Boys and Girls Club.
But it comes out of this fund, so we're doing the general fund. This one and Boys and Girls Club's not built in our budget anywhere. This
How
one's
about
built in
senior
the general
citizens?
fund. That's built in this fund and we'll get there.
Did you get this in your email today?
Yeah. Leave it at 10 and move on, or put in 5 and move on, or put in 0?
That'd be 2,500 apiece.
We paid them 5 last
5,000?
year, right? Yeah. We've been,
Oh,
historically,
I was
we've
thinking-
been paying them 5.
Yeah, did you look at their
I was
financials?
thinking
Deb?
2,500.
No, I have, I didn't see financials.
No, it came with the email with the request.
I know, can I make a comment?
You said you weren't gonna comment, but if you
Okay.
want to, you
I'm
can.
not gonna vote.
He's not voting.
Okay, well then,
It's good to have the information.
In the last 2 years since I've been on here, I like to say that now, Craig. I can say that now, Craig. In the last 2 years, yeah, we got the 5,000 for them, yes. But there was other entities around town that stepped up to help that too, so it's not like, and I'm not shooting myself in the foot, but, you know, it's not like if we don't give them 10,000, it's not gonna make them or break them.
Well, this is the 8th year I've been on here.
Yes, sir.
I don't think we need to, yeah, whatever about it.
Well, and to Bob's thing about how we treat our elderly and how we treat our children, well, it's also how we treat our disabled, and we have a lot of people who have no transportation.
Well, it's not just
That I-
disabled, kids ride it.
Yeah, kids and everybody else, so
Elderly,
there's a lot of
kids.
people without transportation, and we have no taxi service.
Johnny's gonna need it pretty soon, they're taking his garbage.
So, you know, I think we should continue at least with the 5,000.
Thank you for putting a dollar amount on that. Everybody,
I would go with the 5,000.
I agree.
Okay,
changing it to 5? For now, and we can always go back to it if we have to. All right, rabies and animal control got a lot easier this year. $250 for insurance, $24,000 for professional services, $24,250. Really have nothing to cut there. We're skipping over recreation. Senior citizens activities, we have 2 different requests. We have $4,000 for the senior center. If you look at their financials, it makes a difference. And $4,000 for meals. If you look at their financials, I don't think it'll break them. But I'm not sure what you're doing with that information when I send it to you. It's
I
at
think-
8 now.
senior citizens, we need to give them something.
Yeah.
This is meals and meals also.
Yeah, it's 8,000, 4,000 for the senior center, 4,000 for the meals. So did I hear a number in there?
Well,
Leaving
they've
it
got
at 8?
meals coming in from Rapid City, plus they've got Meals on Wheels that they have at their facility too, so.
Yeah, this, They're separate. This is the Meals on Wheels out of Rapid City for that funding, and the senior center, that's not for meals, that's for funding their center.
I'll go with the senior citizens, but
What's your number, Craig?
4 is what they asked for.
I asked before, but I think we ought to give them just what we got at Prairie Hills.
And then cut out the meals, or 1,000 to the meals?
Cut out the meals.
Oh my gosh, the meals is,
I,
taking food out of people's
Have you looked at the financials associated with that organization that they provided to you? They have millions in their bank, so you're not taking food out of anybody's mouth.
I would go with 4,000 to each.
Okay?
I mean, millions in their bank account.
We're talking the senior center or?
Well,
And the meals.
Meals on
Meals on
Wheels. There's something.
I need to hear what you want me
Well,
to
the
do.
Meals on Wheels provides meals throughout all of the hills.
Yeah, and they will.
Yeah, yeah.
Millions in their account.
I mean, it's valid, that's why we ask for financials, so you can analyze that, because you have big things you have to pay for too. So I'm not telling you how to think, I'm just hoping you look at that stuff when we get
Well,
into
what was it, I was thinking that I read there where they, what was it?
Spend it out.
I'm trying to remember, what, $8 and some odd cents per meal is what it costs. And then they suggest a $4 something donation from each person that gets them.
So Western South Dakota Senior Services, Inc., total public support revenues for the year ended June 30th, 2021, $4,561,527. Current assets, total current assets, $2.7 million, $2,792,545. I'm not saying it's not important, I'm not saying you
Craig
shouldn't give
said
money money.
millions.
And
I'm just
what-
sharing.
how many entities are they splitting that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't,
You know,
I don't.
I think a lot of the Black Hills towns are being split.
Sir, Belfouche, Black Gap, Bison, Black Hawk, Box Elder, Caputa, Custer, Dupree, Edmont Bates, Farmingdale, Hart Ranch, Hayward, Hermosa, Hill City, High Sega, Hot Springs, Isabel, Johnson Siding, Padoka, Keystone, Lemon, Martin, Murdo, New Underwood, Newell, Mislin, Phillip, Piedmont, Rapid City, Rapid Valley, Rockerville, Sturgis, Somerset, Tilford, Timberlake, Vale, and Wall.
They used to say who the not serving.
Well, so what are all those people donating?
I don't know.
You know?
Here?
$4,000.
So
We don't know what they're donating.
I say senior citizen center, period.
Well, okay, yeah, because it's local and we know that that money's gonna stay local.
And if they're only asking for $4,000,
Anybody object to changing this to 4,000 for senior center only?
you know, I preached to you folks, and I realized I was doing that, and I've thought about it, that of the folks we talked about, senior citizens, Meals on Wheels, and what was the third one?
Boys and
Boys
girls
and
club?
girls.
Yeah.
How we treat our youngest and our oldest. I don't argue with what Missy and Craig are saying, but there's just something to me that seems wrong about.
So the boys and
We're
girls
talking
are
about-
asking for
we're
how
talking
much?
about,
The
you know,
boy-
feeding people, and it just doesn't seem right.
my mom lived in Brookside the last year of her life. She got meals. She paid $7 for every meal that she got. So I know they pay for the meals,
Yeah.
so, I mean,
So boys and girls are asking for 15. Why don't we do 5,000 to each?
More than they're asking for?
No, they're asking for 15. I'm saying
Total.
drop it to 5.
Oh, I thought you were saying for
No.
these people
No.
too, I'm
No.
leaving, you guys.
Oh, no.
me too, I'm going with you.
Okay,
I'm dropping them 3,000.
To your point, when I was doing Meals on Wheels, the Senior Citizen Center was charging $6 for a meal to come down for everybody to eat there, and the meals were $6.
Yeah, I mean,
being sent out to the
they're
public.
paying for these meals. I know my mom did.
Yeah, my dad did too.
So they're paying for the meals, so I don't know why we have to, on top of it, you know?
Let's also consider how you're treating your infrastructure, your assets, your employees, and your responsibilities when we add in taking care. Because you're going through each of these, so just pick a number, tell me what you want it to be, but let's
To
consider
me,
all those.
helping the
Well,
senior citizens,
they have
we're helping
building
their elderly.
We're talking about helping them maintain their building. We're
Yeah,
not
four
paying for
thousand
the food.
senior center is, so but I think the food is the 4,000 for the senior meals.
Well, let's not beat the
Four?
dead horse to death, what do we wanna do?
We said four
Four.
senior
Four
center.
centers.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, parks. This is the big show.
Oh, see, I wanna get this, I wanna close the night on this, because I want you to remember this when
We-
Jeff says this.
We can, because we're gonna have to have a third meeting, or we can go a little longer. Parks, 65,000 for salaries and wages. We have one full-time and one year-round part-time, and one part-time seasonal.
23.
5,000 payroll taxes, 2750 retirement, 2350 workman's comp, 11,200 for group insurance, 375 for unemployment, 4,100 for insurance, 11,500 for professional services, that's weed spraying for parks and green spaces, 2,000 for vehicle repairs. This is the one I joked about when everybody else had so much, and I'm like, parks has a whole bunch of stuff, and they only have 2,000. 10,200 for building repairs.
Can we stop there?
Yep.
Let's go down to the bottom. I need to go ahead and, sorry.
I just gotta get this out.
No, I gotta get this out, because this affects every other decision.
$234,000?
We need to remove the $200,000, because that is the matching grant. If you want me to do Butler Park, we've got to put money in there for the matching grant for $200,000. But it is an option year. We'll skip one more year, 2 more years if we have to. So all I'm doing is taking out the $200,000 so that you have a little better frame of reference as you start to cut other things.
So gazebo and stair repairs and railings will still be improved with the 34,000?
Yes.
Okay, so can I jump back up to building repairs?
Yes, now you may go back. Now I've given my thunder.
$8,200 to replace park bathrooms with timer locks.
82,000?
8,200. Did I say 1,000?
She's hearing thousands.
This is to replace all the park bathrooms with timer locks and 2,000 for other buildings.
I would-
Anybody want to talk about that?
I would offer.
Timer lock.
So that nobody will go and unlock the bathrooms.
It's to lock the doors at dusk so that the vandalism,
They lock anyway, so if somebody.
they have to keep, in case the police go around and lock the doors, but in case they're busy,
wasn't
they might
bothering you.
not be able to do it. So it's taking that
Back in AFib.
off their to-do list,
5 deadly.
so that we decrease the vandalism that's going on.
So this is an automatic lock,
Right.
and it unlocks at a certain hour?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
programmed to unlock and lock at a certain hour.
Okay.
So why do we have to do that?
We do not have to do anything. This is something that is, if you want, my recommendation, I guess, on this would be allow us to do a couple of them this year. And, see how they work. If you're comfortable with them, then we'll go on to more. If we cut this down to where it was last year, say 4,000, 5,000, somewhere in there, it will allow me to do a couple of them.
What was how much did we pay for vandalism repairs?
It's not so much vandalism, it's more of, I think it was the police responsibility to go around to all of the public bathrooms and unlock them, unlock the cemetery. If somebody decides to be a drunk driver at 7 o'clock in the morning and they're down booking them in, or something else is going on, and there's an event at Centennial Park, then dispatch is getting called, everybody's getting called saying, the bathrooms are locked. And so then we're either pulling some of Billy's crew off or waiting until an officer is free. And so it's to expedite and not make it people dependent when we don't always have people. You know, sometimes criminals just are not considerate about when they decide to break the law.
Time of day or night it is. They don't do it at 7 o'clock every morning.
No, but stuff happens, and that was the reason, is so that whatever time we decide the locks go on, you didn't have to.
Can you do it, can you control by your phone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's controlled by the
Don't
code.
more than I know.
I'm sorry.
So if you're talking-
That's good.
Jeff, how much are these a piece?
Sorry?
How much are these a piece?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. The math worked out to the $8,200 for all the water clauses. I don't know, I wanna say they're like $800 a piece roughly. I forget, we have 11 or 12 different restrooms we have to secure, and I should have that information, I don't, I forgot.
And you had mentioned maybe doing some this year to see how they work.
Yeah.
What are the most vandalized, prone?
Yeah, Centennial, and kind of like Bill said, this really isn't about, vandalism, they're gonna vandal what they vandalize. I mean, they're gonna break in, kick the door in if they want to, that's not. So it really isn't so much the vandalism, it really is more have
personnel?
Yeah, just getting it around, open them and close them. You can't leave them all night, open all night, or you'll have homeless sleeping in there or whatever.
And I agree that you shouldn't have to pay a police officer to go around blocking.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah, and what we're doing is paying department heads a minimum of 2 hours at time and a half to come in and respond on the weekend when.
So
I say we start,
If
let's just
you-
have a trial
Yeah.
and see how well that goes. If
Put
it
it
goes
on
up
the-
in our face, we haven't lost.
So should we do half of them this year?
If we can do 4,000,
Unlock the other house.
if we can do 4,000 this year for the locks,
People still going.
yeah. And then give us the other 2,000 for the other buildings and make it a $6,000 line item, we can work with that and we'll get it done.
Thought you were into volunteerism, Craig.
Is anybody
Don't bother
objecting to
me.
the $6,000 in building repairs?
So, for me, this wasn't lights and water. Started out at 10,200. I dropped it down to 4,200. So Jeff, as far as the timer locks themselves,
Yes.
for the sake of conversation, they're set to lock at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So, somebody really needs to use the bathroom. I mean, really needs to use the bathroom.
You can just go outside by the door.
So they go in there at 9:55.
Oh,
They're in there and the lock's locked.
They have breaker doors.
Okay, so there is no vandalism
Yeah,
proof
I
here.
don't know that
Because
our
smart
doors
folks are gonna figure out real quick, I'll go in there, I'll wait until it locks, and then I'll come back out, and now I can do whatever I want. So vandalism isn't an issue. These aren't gonna solve vandalism.
parked a rock in the door.
So I adjusted it down to 4,200 from the 10,200 for building repair, other building repairs. The police, we've already had that conversation. I've already paid overtime for
Department head?
street department folks to come in and unlock the bathrooms because the police were otherwise occupied. And they're gonna continue to be otherwise occupied until we can either get the department up to where it needs to be or we go a different direction. For me, that would be the justification for the locks, that we just need to recognize it's not gonna solve that.
No, it's not solved.
So 4,200 is what you.
That's what I bumped it down to.
Jeff, that's what I was gonna say, exactly what the mayor said. I mean, come on, if they wanna start, take a look at it, if it's not working, and they're still vandalizing it, then,
Well,
you know.
to Bob's point, it really is about the vandalism. You're right, it's about
free up the.
labor and having open and close them. And there's all kinds of ways around it. And if you want to vandalize something, like I said, they're gonna do it, you know, it's like everything else. So what I would say is if we can afford to try it this year, do Centennial Park, let's see how it works. If it doesn't work and it's still a bunch of wasted money, we won't go any further, is my recommendation.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, do Centennial Park.
Yeah.
Potty on the path would be a good one.
Potty on the
I
path.
think Brookside part, I think those should be our 3 highest priorities, because that's where we get the most calls from, when the doors aren't open.
Believe it, lighting.
$6,200.
Cover 6,200.
That gives me 4,200 on the locks and
You're
2,000
lighting
on
in
the
the new covered shelter at Brookside?
So I am at 6,000.
6,000 or 6,200?
6,200 or 6,000? I had 6,000.
6,000 is fine, 6,000.
Can I ask a difficult question? Every morning you can set your watch by the clocks, by the police department unlocking the cemetery. They don't have a call out during that time. why do they unlock cemetery when we go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning? I'm just asking. I mean, I could see them locking it, but why do they have to unlock cemetery when the city goes to work at 7 o'clock?
Well, they work
Because
at the
they've
street
been asked-
shop.
They've been asked to open it before 7 o'clock because there are people that want.
Okay.
And Lori
Go to
doesn't
the
report
cemetery.
to
Lori
the
doesn't go to
Yeah,
cemetery.
they work out the other shop, and so it's, you know, it's just a convenience thing, that's something I like to keep doing.
Larry, or Lori's.
So we're at
great
6,000,
salary.
6,000.
Is that her middle name, Larry?
3,000
No.
for equipment repairs, street walk repairs, 15,000, remove Flagstone, Centennial Fountain, and Kidney Springs.
What's that about?
So, is this keep the lights on? No.
No.
We have 15,500 budgeted for
We
this
have-
year too, we might be able to use, because some of it is, didn't you say you needed it for plumbing?
Yes. So really what this is about is, and Parks hasn't discussed this, we've looked at it, we know that we have to get a drain around that fountain in order for it not to be destroyed any further. To do that, we've got to pull up that flagstone sidewalk around it, put in a French drain, that's what it's about.
I see.
The Centennial, or the, sorry, Kidney Springs gazebo was in this, wasn't it? No, that was down below, sorry. So this is all, and then also the same thing for the flagstone around the, and I don't remember what the issue is, there's an issue with the flagstone around the bathrooms, the restroom. But where are we at on our year-to-date on this one?
We've only spent
Let's get through parks first.
111 year to date.
Okay. Okay, so,
Why can't we use that 15,000 we budgeted for this year? We get it done and drop it off the 2023 budget.
yeah, okay.
I'd say zero.
Oh,
Well,
we might
leave me-
need some
leave me
kind of
something in
street
there.
walk
Give me a
repair.
Are we,
About
are we,
5,000.
wait, are we gonna need some of that money for the electrical for those plug-ins?
Yeah, but it's gotta be this year.
Well, and that would be an
Well, there's-
electricity charge.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, is taking this year, you're talking about using this
Yeah.
year's money to take the flagstone out, but we also need some of that money to install the electrical for those handicap plugs.
That's being done in this year, though, Deb.
That's
I've
being
got it
done
this year.
this.
We're working on it now. So, you're right about that, we have to have the money for it, but I think we can also do this work out of this year's money, if we're at that point. I
Okay.
didn't look at that.
So 500 for street walk repairs, down from 15,000?
Sure.
500?
Well, they've spent in the past 179, 996. We don't have anything specific, it just gives them some money.
I take it down to 500.
So, seems that we're apart. We put aside for a sprinkler system for the depot for this year. Last year. Are we gonna still do that this year, or is that gonna be part of this next year?
I don't know how many pounds it
We
is.
aren't in parks yet, or that park, are we?
He says this year, he said about
This year, we
This
put
year.
money away last year for the depot,
Yeah, we did.
for a sprinkler system for the depot. We held it back from last year to this year.
Irrigation system or sprinkler system?
Sprinkler system.
for
ground
lawn.
irrigation.
Yeah.
Not far. Where was that?
What was the issue on that, Mayor?
We didn't do it yet.
Oh, that
No.
goes
We
yeah.
decided to go ahead and do the covered shelter instead of what you're talking about.
That was from money from last year. We did the coverage
Yeah,
shelter.
for me, it's not an instead of, I don't recall the conversation. I'm not saying it didn't happen, I just didn't.
What happened? I remember,
Right.
Well, that's maybe a note for Jeff to follow up
Yeah,
on for
I-
this year's
first I heard
expenses.
about it, I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, because we talked about it quite a bit last year.
Is
We was
that-
gonna do it last year, and then they didn't think they'd have time, so we said that we're gonna hold the money over to this year to have it done.
Is that something we should maybe include when they're messing with the street next year in front of there?
Well, sprinkler system shouldn't have anything to do with the street.
They're gonna be doing the new sidewalk.
Let me work on this, guys, and I'll come back to you if I need some more money.
So then we're at sewer water repairs, we have 3,500, that's for bathroom fixture items, ongoing sprinkler repairs at Butler and Soccer Field near Mueller Center. Those are the same notes from 2022. Same amount of money sitting in there, they used some of it, so. Any changes to that?
They've only used $1,200 this year so
And those are the same notes, but maybe it's an ongoing.
We can drop that number down if you'll increase the lower number. Take 1,000 off of there and put another 1,000 down for fence repair, because if we wait another year on the project, I gotta do more with the fences. Does that make sense? Drop the sewer repair, sewer, water to 2,500, or even less, I don't care.
Then 1,600.
You put 1,600 on the bottom, on the fencing.
Just rob Peter.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything, but
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna keep going then, I did that. 3,000 for supplies, 600 for clothing, 2,300 for janitorial supplies, 1,200 for minor tools, 1,500 for agricultural supplies, 3,000 for gas, oil, and diesel, 500 for miscellaneous signs, 9,100 for electricity.
Ouch, how come that went up?
That's down.
Oh,
from-
year to date, so,
You did.
okay.
Yeah, 12,000 to replace 12 picnic tables with composite, under other current expense.
council's call on this is simply,
I think we'd save money in the long run.
Billy said that they'd write all and carve all over the composite.
yeah,
They do that
Worse,
for wood.
still-
worse than the wood.
Well,
What about metal?
Andrea was
That's what
talking
he was talking about,
getting a
aluminum.
grant for these, some of these tables too, because we want to get handicap tables put in there also.
Surely
We already
it's gonna-
purchased a couple of those this
we
year.
buy them, anytime we buy these, we buy one or two handicap as well.
If we go over the books, figure out how much money we spend in winter time with labor and everything, redoing all these picnic tables, buying new wood, bolts, all that stuff, redoing it. In the long run, it'd be cheaper to go this way.
So for me, it was the lights and water at this particular time. Do we need to replace picnic tables? With composite, Deborah, it is correct that Billy had said, if we're gonna replace them, we need to replace them with metal. And then we talked about composite because it might be less expensive and they wouldn't have to sand them, stain them, and varnish them. But Billy pointed out the vandalism will be the same to a wood table as a composite table. But it's the labor and everything. We're paying them whether they're sanding a picnic table or we're paying them whether they're working on whatever. So when it comes to lights and water,
That could go to every department.
it absolutely could. But to say that we're gonna save their labor dollars that will go towards the cost of this, we're paying them those
We'll
dollars.
figure out how much wood is right now.
So how much do you
Stain.
want to spend on aluminum picnic tables?
So I've just explained why I removed it, and it's up to you.
Down to 0.
I'm not gonna,
I don't think so, but I'm on one,
You don't think we're,
We take it down to 0. That's 12,000? Yeah. Do we know how much a metal picnic table is?
well, picnic tables are roughly 1,000 apiece, no matter a quality table. No matter whether it's metal or wood or composite, unless you buy it in gold, it's gonna be $1,000 a table, because that's the rule of
let's
thumb.
move it down to 6,000, and get 6 of them. Start out someplace.
Well, do we have, will the equipment repairs, or repairs other than, do we have anything else that will repair picnic tables?
It's usually supplies is where the paint and the sandpaper and the wood materials are purchased from.
so I'll
That's
give you on that,
3,000.
you're gonna save material costs, you're not gonna save labor costs.
Well, as Billy said too, I mean, we're talking about metal. What I heard Billy say on the metal is they were a lot easier to keep clean than composite.
Yeah, and let's not get into the details on which.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I'm just saying.
Are we budgeting for new
Are we
picnic
budgeting,
tables?
and here's what I will offer up, if this helps, is I can buy a less expensive zero turn, we can balance this thing out, go down to your last line, take 12,000 out of the 26, change that to 14, give me 14,000 on machinery and 12,000 on tables. Does that work? You're not saving any money, but you're moving it around. That's just my recommendation.
I'd say, I agree with you there, but for the tables, I would sure look at the metal.
I'm fine with the,
But I would definitely agree with you, stay with 12,000 there, drop the machinery to 14,000.
okay, I'm fine with that, and I won't, we'll run the purchase before the Parks Committee and Council before we buy them, so.
What was the amount we're drop in machinery too?
Yeah,
14.
So it's not changing about.
So does that still buy them a zero-turn mower and the half of the hydro seeder?
It buys the hydro seeder, the zero turn, yes, I can get a zero turn for,
Machinery for me was another lights and water. The hydro seeder, Jeff had made a case for that. Zero turn mower, and that'd be great, but I went from 26 to 5, to give them something, to do zero.
Don't they have a couple
they have,
really nice zero-turn
they have
mowers?
one zero turn, I think they only have one, and they're using it for all the parks and all the streets and all the, so it's a kind of a problem. But,
But cemetery has two.
But theirs aren't zero-turn,
Yeah,
they
but-
just have riding
Yeah,
mowers.
they're zero-turn.
Are they?
Yeah, they're zero-turn.
I don't know what's out there, guys.
But they use them all the time out
Well, I'm
there.
not saying that.
They need them somewhere else.
No?
No, we took it off, we can,
That's right.
I would say if we can get one in here, we can use it in other areas as well, so that's what I would say.
So we're still sitting at 12,000, 34,000, and 14,000, those last three
3,400,
lines?
yes.
34,000
No,
for the gazebo and stair repairs and railings?
4,000.
That's what we have. But if you
No,
want to
I-
be 3,400.
Well, I'm just
you're
looking at it
making
thinking, I
it
can't fix the gazebo for $3,000.
No, so I have $199,075.
So what's wrong with the gazebo?
Have
It's
you
falling
looked at
apart.
the
All you gotta
pillars?
look at it.
They completely
They're
rebuilt that.
rotted out
It's
at the
Aaron
bottom.
Higgins' boyfriend rebuilt that.
It, you should walk by it.
So, what did we put in for picnic tables?
12,
And what did we put in for the machinery?
14.
14? Okay. And I just want to mention that Jeff's already talked about removing his $200,000 grant. For me, that was another lights and water. Took it from 234 to 18. Gazebo and stair repairs and railing repairs, that's where I was focused. And so what amount did you settle on for that?
34,000.
34, okay.
What's the total again, Misty?
$199,075.
I wanna go back to
That's what I
Colby.
got.
Why, there's only one full-time employee in parks, why is it $600?
$400 for one full-time and two part-time at $100 each.
I didn't know that too much.
remove the
I appreciate the
flagstone, went
council's
down to
support on that.
500 up there. The red,
What'd you say, Devin?
I'm just talking to Larry to get
Keep going.
caught up.
Line 13, what do you have?
Line 13 was
6,000?
6,000, and one above that is, no, line 13 is 6,000, yeah.
And then line 30 is 12,000.
30 is, yes,
Then line 32 is 34,000.
yep. And
33
14.
is 14,000.
Yep.
So all I've got is 2,075. Or 200.
What's grand total?
199,075.
I'm missing something somewhere.
You took the 200,000 out, right?
Don't trust your Aggie.
Yeah, that
I wouldn't trust my aunt either.
I agree with you.
This-
What else did we?
199,
I'm trying to think what else we
You
changed.
saved the hell.
Change all the, you
From the
know,
original.
From the original 400, what,
Yeah,
huh?
line item.
Yeah, it's still a $32,000 increase from last year.
Are we good?
No, we changed all the yellow line items, correct?
Yes.
But was there another line item that was changed?
Yeah, we changed street walk repairs from 15,000 to 500.
Okay, I got that.
2,500 for the one right under it.
Oh, that
We
was bathroom
increased the
fixture.
600 to
Okay,
1,600.
wait, hold up. Below the 500, you put 2,500, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
And then 16 after that.
16, okay, and then the bottom.
And down to the bottom.
199,075.
Yes. Okay. We already went through library.
Did we skipped recreation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I wanted to do parks first,
Oh, okay.
Oh, you
because
wanna go back to
we
it?
can go back to rec now. I just
Okay.
wanted to get the other one out of the way because I felt it was important the council had a frame of reference on this.
So here, I'll give you an update as we're going through now, because that was a big cut. So in the general fund, and we still have the Mueller Center Economic Development and Recreation, I believe we've covered all the rest. We're $79,673 in the hole.
We have come up with that, Mark.
we're still cutting.
We haven't got it yet.
To your point, we're getting closer,
Yeah.
but because we haven't gone through all the departments, my number is showing that we're now at 40,448.
Oh,
We
So
started
he
out
has
at
some Mueller
62,
credit cuts.
and then, yes, we have some other cuts, but we're getting closer.
We're getting
When-
better.
When Misty was at 471, and I was still looking at 62, it's like,
Right.
well,
What the
what's
heck?
going on here?
Well,
So
she had,
we're
she had
closing in.
this 200 in there.
All right. So we're at the Miller Center?
I think we're gonna go back to recreation,
We'll do
page
recreation.
21.
Recreation, all right.
All right, so estimating salaries and wages in recreation is a guess. There's no current estimate other than department head newly approved 1040 hours. And then guessing for the rest, we got 26,000, 2,000 for payroll taxes, 500 for workers' comp, 25 for unemployment, 2,500 for professional services,
What is that contained?
umpires for baseball, Chadron Baseball League fees, which are $300 a team. $400 for publishing. Yeah, it seems pretty high. $250 for vehicle repairs, that's new in 2022. That is the old white van that Tracy used to drive. I
Does she
wouldn't put much
drive that
more
thing?
than that. We've put
Kathy
over
drives it all the
$700 in
time.
it
She loves
this
it.
year.
I haven't seen her driving it lately, and I'm driving all. I'm not saying she's not, I'm just
Yeah.
saying that I'm driving past
She's
her a
driving.
lot.
She
and I
shouldn't
don't
just
see her
be out
driving.
driving around though. She just isn't.
No, she's going to her things.
Supplies and materials, 300, 200 for gas oil.
3,000.
Oh, sorry, 3,000. Yeah, this is why I need to quit by
How
now.
come that's double almost?
It's up from last year.
It's 1,000 higher than last year. What, how come?
Just more supplies
More
for various
programs.
More
programs.
programs?
We've spent $700 in the 2,000 year to date, and the majority of our programs are done for the year. No.
No,
Maybe buy 500, but not to 500.
no, you can cut it a little bit if you want. I mean, I'm pressing for more programs, so that's all,
Okay.
that's all it is.
We'll leave it. 2,500?
I think we ought to cut it to 2,000.
Well, she's expanding it every year.
Well, that,
Only
do we need, I'm sorry to be the one to bring this up, but do we have more programs than we can afford?
We don't have more than we used to have, so the whole blowing up thing, we have different programs, but our participant numbers have gone down.
Good.
Yeah.
I disagree with Misty's, but I've got different numbers I'm looking at, so you guys, I mean, I haven't only been here a short time, so I don't know, I don't have all the information, and what I'm getting is skewed.
Yeah, I
Put it
just
down.
pulled some numbers from the city administrator files from previous years compared to what she said her numbers were this year. And there are some different things that have occurred with new programming and going year round, but I think it was 2019, it was 820 participants, we're at 550 something so far this year with some more programs coming, so.
Yeah, I mean, and this, I think I had her increase this because I'm pressing for better, more programs, that's all. More
Is there a curriculum or something that,
There's an annual program,
no. Let me,
sorry. I apologize, getting tired.
yes. Okay, we have all these activities, and I'm not, and like you said, I'm gonna be a Debbie Downer here too, okay?
Hey. Excuse me.
I didn't say
Do not
Deborah,
include
I did
me
not
in
say
there.
Deborah.
You said Debbie.
But
I used to be Debbie.
I mean, let's be honest, we've got gymnastics, we got volleyball, we got all these really little things going on, baseball and things.
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo, yeah, but where does sushi
sushi,
come into this?
there
Where
were
does some of
6
this-
participants in
Listen,
that
look,
class,
I'm
right?
just asking, okay, I mean, is this?
She's trying to expand into
I
the
understand,
adult,
I
into the adult
understand that, but I'm just.
senior.
You know you don't wanna get me started on this, because we'll go all night.
So what is sushi?
They make
Anything raw,
sushi.
they make sushi.
It's food, it was a cooking class.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, how to make
So-
sushi, how to make
Sushi.
sushi.
2,500?
If
3,000?
Sushi.
you don't cook sushi, yeah, what is it?
That's
But
how
we
do you,
have- just
how
if-
you
but
put it together.
If sushi is being done, is health code standards being followed? I'm
Yes.
just saying,
Yeah.
is there a lot of stuff that's being taken into consideration for some of these
We
things?
don't have a health thing.
I'm
here
not
at
against
Mueller
it, I
Center.
just want, you know, I wanna know.
So legally, they can't do that.
They weren't doing it here.
Yes, they did.
They did it in the.
I cleaned up after 'em.
kitchen.
It used to get in here?
Yeah.
I remember.
I'm
Anyway,
sure there's waivers.
look, we can get into all the details of it.
I'm just,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just asking a question, I don't want details, I'm just asking a question. The other question I
And the
have
kids are
too.
out eating dirt in Butler
Hey, I
Park
did that
too.
when I was a kid.
It's good for our
That was-
immune
yes.
system.
The other question I'm asking too is, on this, back to salaries and wages. There's many an evenings when I cruise downtown, I see her down at City Hall. I mean, is that also, she writing that stuff down?
Oh, yeah. She's,
So,
She goes in there and makes her copies after
I
hours, so
understand,
she's
I
not in
understand.
everybody else's way.
comes
I'm
during the
just
day too.
asking Misty.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah, she's a mostly 7-day-a-week, during her busy season,
Right,
sometimes 12 hours a day employee.
okay, I'm just wondering if.
Thanks for asking.
No, I appreciate it, and look, we're trying to, this is catch-22, we're trying to build a program, make it better, that's my own
Right,
personal
right.
thing. At the same time, trying not to overburden things, so, you know, I appreciate the council's support in increasing her hours, that was a big deal for me, so.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with what you're saying, I mean, were we getting too many programs
Yeah.
involved, you know?
Well, that's something the council not to decide.
Is she overworking herself?
Well,
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer
Thank you,
either,
Debbie.
but I think for a small community that
Not
this
Debbie
kind of
Downer.
recreation should be combined
Deborah.
with SHREC. And outside of the city purview, but I don't want to be a Debbie Downer and I can't volunteer that, sorry. I don't want to get ranked on. And
I'm outta
we can't
here.
tell that organization they're gonna take on our stuff either, but for a town our size.
And we are
we're
trying,
big
we are
enough
trying to improve our relationship with Shrek.
So I want to go back and I want to look up at
What?
Rather be a
the
Debbie
fees that
Downer
we
than a
got
Karen.
Yeah,
under professional services.
yeah.
yeah.
When I coached American Legion Baseball, I don't know how the city got involved in this, but when I coached American Legion Baseball, we paid our own fees, we paid our own umpires, we paid the state, we paid our own insurance, every bit of that. The city, we worked on the field under our own and got it up and running where it's as nice as it is today. We did that through selling signage across the outfield fence. That's our big mass income, plus our fund drives that we have. We did that. How did the city get into paying the fees for baseball?
We've been discouraging people to volunteer too. We want them to bill us so that we know what the fees are. So when somebody wants to volunteer to ump, we encourage them to bill us so that we know how many umps we need and the cost associated with it.
Every game I had to call umpires, pay travel,
She
pay their
does,
wages.
that's part of her
I
added
have to do
hours.
it all,
They do all that.
but the city does that.
He's saying before the group did it.
We did it, city did not.
These are kind of philosophical decisions or discussions that the council will have to have on how they want to go with quality of life programs. If you want a big program, you can pay for a big program, you can pay for no program. $40,000 a year to operate a recreation program is a drop in the bucket for any size community, it's nothing. So you're getting a pretty good deal, I think, for the money.
And back in the day, I got that baseball diamond designated as an Norm Jenigas field that the city would mow, and that's it. We paid the mowing and
I
the
believe that, I believe that.
water, and then we paid everything else.
And we're not at 40,000 for recreation because our parks are recreation, our plunge is recreation, and our golf course is recreation.
No, that's
We support recreation far greater than just this budget.
Sure,
in the
I'm just
city.
saying, I had to get that in there so you guys.
No, I know a lot of cities that way.
Well, and there's always the argument, there's nothing for the kids to do in this town. Well, this is
Well, it sounds like
what
most
she's
of it's
trying
for
to do.
adults.
Yeah, I get that, I just,
Yeah.
it just seems like over the last couple of years, we've had scope creep.
We've had,
Scope creep.
Yeah.
what's that?
It just,
Well,
the
she's-
program keeps growing, and it keeps growing mid-cycle. That's, quite frankly, folks, that's why I voted no, because it was a mid-cycle increase. This is when we should be having the discussion on how big recreation is gonna be. How much do we want to afford? If we want to afford 38,955, that, that,
Mid-cycle is when the season peaks.
I know, but we need to be thinking about that in July of now for next year.
That's what we're doing.
I know, but we just did an increase
Yeah.
because
'Cause she's
new
doing
stuff
more.
came up. That's the part that I don't like.
Okay.
And so, go ahead, I'll shut up.
I got two things I gotta say, but go ahead, Bob, I'll say.
Are we at a point with recreation that we settle on an amount?
3,000 or 2,500 or still supplies?
No, I'm not, because if they're serving sushi, having it cook in there in our kitchen without being,
Food
Thursday
safe certified?
yeah.
We're using food safe certified, I won't get into it. I
There's
think
nobody serving unless she is.
She's not, I am.
Carl is on there.
Are you there every night?
I cleaned up afterwards.
But you gotta be there when they're doing it.
Nope.
When I had the diner, yes, somebody had to be
Yeah.
there.
We can, it's a good follow-up, we should follow
Yeah,
up.
I
on
will,
that.
I made a note, Craig, when we look into stuff. I don't disagree with any of the conversation, I
So 2,500 for supplies and materials or 3,000?
2,500.
Going once? Going twice. 2,500 for supplies, materials, and recreation. 3,000. We have 200 for gas, oil, and diesel, new in 2022. 600, I'm not sure why that doubled. Red Cross fees, registration fees are the same, and then SDPRA is new at 75.
You can drop it at to 375, because that includes the sending hertz of the SDPRA conference, but that's fine.
Would that be sending her to it or being registered for it?
The 375 includes registering for it, that's registering for it. I was adding money in there to get her to go to it, but we're taking out trouble with member else.
Should she be registered then if we're not gonna send her to it?
Yeah, we need to register with SDPRA. That registration fee.
You know, and what did we do to fix it last time? It wasn't letting me
I said
update
it out there, I
numbers.
don't know what you did.
What was the one above it, the Red
200.
Cross annual, what was that one?
The what?
That's the one we're talking about.
200, but it's gas and diesel.
Yeah, we're talking about the Red Cross annual registration fee right now and changing it to 375. I'm gonna let Jeff talk about this machinery and equipment.
That has to go back up to professional services because it is the annual fee for the registration portal, which actually will save us labor dollars.
So that should be
That
zero.
should be zero, but we gotta go back up here to professional services and make that 29.80.
And 480, correct, sir?
So we're taking that out.
Take that, it's moving it up to professional services, making professional services 29.80.
And the cell phone is 300, so.
No, she doesn't want a cell phone. We added it in, we tried to give it to her, she doesn't want it. Let's not.
So we're saying zero on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't want a city, she doesn't want to have her phone subject to city control.
Although she works for the city.
No, we can't force her to have a, well, I guess we could.
Yeah,
Just-
she's
just
using her
saying.
own phone, and so, and we don't have an expense. Transfer out 2,800, that is the transfer that we do to the Hot Springs Capital Improvement 501 Fund for the baseball T-ball improvements in exchange for those people not getting paid for the hours that they're working. I wouldn't call it a donation because we're still paying them here, but the funds are going to improve baseball and T-ball instead of into wages in their pockets. So we're at 38, 230.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're at 10 after 9. What's the council's appetite?
I'm not the council. All right. I feel like we could get through the general fund tonight.
I gotta be at 4:30.
Oh, we can stop too.
I mean,
Don't matter to
I
me.
can soldier on, but.
We are gonna have another day, so if it makes it easier, we can just stuff now.
So what all do we have
Mueller-
left?
Mueller Center Economic Development is all that's left in the general fund.
What would be the appetite for kind of doing council early on?
We
Monday?
can't because we haven't given public
Oh, that's right,
notice.
okay, sorry.
or-
But couldn't we meet to do this? Not-
Tuesday, or Wednesday, or
Tuesday.
Thursday, or of next week.
Monday next week.
Schedule
That's what
an
I'm
interview.
about once. Larry's gotta get up at 4, she's gotta drive, call her out in the country.
I got driven.
Yeah, you gotta go walk.
You gotta
We're gonna have to schedule it Thursday anyway, we haven't gotten to the plunge, or the golf
would've
course, or the water, or the sewer, so.
Carl's gotta walk every night, walk clear to the other end of town.
So we're breaking? Call it a night.
It don't matter to me.
All right. Yeah, say we schedule it for next Tuesday, schedule another.
Does anybody have any problems with the date Tuesday, August 2nd? Wait, I got something in there.
Can we do it Wednesday?
I don't know unless I'm looking at the calendar. I know I have surgery next month, so.
Historic preservation is at 5 o'clock on Wednesday.
Yeah, but that's
So
not.
Wednesday doesn't work, but we could, if Tuesday's too soon after the council meeting, we could do Thursday the 4th. Okay, so Tuesday the 2nd sounds like it's the day.
I'll have
Because
to
you
work.
have to be here.
No, I agree. I can be here, but I have surgery on Thursday, so.
Yeah, we're the 2nd.
Tuesday the
5
second?
o'clock,
I'll let you know tomorrow if I can make
5
it.
o'clock, Tuesday the 2nd. Everybody
Tuesday
in?
second, 5 o'clock.
Jeff, did you say they had one lane of River Street open?
Yeah, I just got the notice a little while ago. The northbound, I think, is open.
You have something to say,
North
Mom?
River Street
Like
has
your-
reopened, but traffic are restricted
Thank
to one
you.
lane for the block in front of City Hall while water crew continue to work. Please use alternative